Hello, and welcome back to Zen and Fanfics. Today we're starting an exciting new series. What if Deku was granted Kitsune Quirk? If you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe for more content. The story we're featuring is written by Dragon Gam 3 on fanfiction.net. You can find all the relevant links in the description, so be sure to check out the author's profile and say hello. Now let's dive into the story. Our story begins on Izuku Midoriya's 4th birthday. He would now come in the age of his quirk manifestation, the other kids in the daycare slowly manifesting their quirks. His best friend, Bakugo Katsuki, has manifested his quirk. He calls it Explosion, and it lets him generate a liquid as his sweat. Oh, what is it called again? I think nitroglycerin. It's a boom liquid, and he can ignite it at will. The adults at the daycare say he will be the next #1 hero. But aren't explosions bad? Don't get him wrong, he likes the idea of giving something bad a good look, but his personality is as explosive as his quirk. I even saw him accidentally hurt someone who hasn't yet his quirk, but the adult said it was okay and that accidents happen. And then just went back to praising how great his quirk is. Is that all there is? Is quirk the only thing that matters? Izuku isn't dumb. He noticed the signs of his quirk, but told nobody about it. He was a bit scared of only being reduced to his quirk. He wanted to be seen as a person and not his quirk. The signs for the manifestation were, for example, that he started to have strange dreams about the past. At least he thinks it's the past. He got claimer and his senses got stronger. He can see all things so much clearer and his hearing got better. But the sharpest increase is his sense of smell and his presence perception. He can feel the people around him. He can also feel emotions around him, which makes it quite difficult to hide his quirk parts from others. But that didn't matter today. Today is Sunday, so he and his mom got the whole day together. Today was a special day as Inko would show Izuku a recording of her first sport festival at UA. She didn't make the cut to get into the hero course, but instead got into the general studies courses. First she was a little bit upset about it, but later discovered that she didn't have what it's needed to be a hero on the scene. She still wanted to help people, so she became a lawyer. Both were wearing cozy clothes. Izuku was wearing a white t-shirt with t-shirt on it in black kanji. It is way too big for him, but he had begged his mother until he got it. He was also wearing black shorts. His mother was wearing an orange top and a wine red skirt. Okay, Aiza-chan, today we're going to watch a video of the sports festival because I know you like quirks. Inko explains to Izuku, to which he smiles. Oh, an old one or the last one? Asks Izuku, excited. That is for me to know and you to find out. She said simply. Oh, and mommy, could you promise me something? I do hope so. What could you tell Ani Mitsuki? Not when I get my quirk. I want to surprise her. Yeah, I can promise that to you. With that out of the way, they started to watch the sports festival. Izuku easily spotted his mom and told her, "This nice-looking girl with green hair looks just like you." That was divine for her, and she told him that that was herself in the first year of UA. She got to the third part of the festival, a 1v1 fight, where she got to fight another girl by the name of Namuri Kiyama, and sadly lost. After that, Izuku lost a little bit of interest in it, because his awesome mom was out. She told him that after that she befriended Kiyama and was offered a spot in the hero course, but she declined that offer and said she didn't have what it takes to be a good hero. Through Kiyama, she met 3 other hero course students who would become her close friends. The first was Shoto Aizawa, the second was Oboro Shirakumo, and the third was Hisashi Yamada. She explained that all 4 of them are heroes and that she worked for them sometimes as their lawyer. They meet every 2 months and just catch up. This got even more stars into Izuku's eyes as he watched his mother telling him stories of those heroes. Suddenly, Izuku sneezed out of nowhere, and with that he suddenly spotted fox ears and a foxtail, both dark emerald green with black tips, and the fur inside his new ears is silver/grayish. Izuku didn't notice the new feature at first, but Inko was slightly stunned by their sudden appearances. Well, Izuku, looks like you will meet a hero today. Inko began with a smile after a short pause. Why will I meet a hero today, mommy? He asks as he tilts his head to the left and looks at her confused, bending his right ear a little. Inko gives her all not to squeal at the sight of pure cuteness in front of her. Asterisk cough, asterisk you see your quirk, just manifestation. Go. When look into a mirror, and I have promised the school nurse of UA to look at you when you manifest your quirk. Inko explains as Izuku got up and ran toward a mirror. Inko thought about the quirk. He at least has a fox part to his quirk, but I somehow doubt that is everything. Now that I think about it, my grandmother and my grandfather both had fox quirks, so it is surprising that neither my mother nor me had a fox part to our quirks. Her grandmother's quirk was called Kitsune, and her grandfather's was called Huli Jing. Grandmother, may God have mercy with her in hell. Kitsune was simply her name for it. She had a fox mutation quirk with 3 tails instead of 1. Her grandfather was from China, and he could possess inanimate objects. He was a sweet old man, and I will never understand how he ended up with someone like Grandma. Izuku was excited he finally got his quirk, and hopefully could be a great hero like All Might. As he was walking towards the mirror, he suddenly felt extremely tired. So tired that he, in fact, just dropped sleeping. His mom was brought out of her thinking by the soft bump that Izuku made. She quickly got to him, but noticed that he was only sleeping, so she texted Recovery Girl. She took him in his favorite blanket and set him down on the couch as she waited for her answers inside Izuku's dream. He was walking through a forest. He looked around and noticed that it was a sort of evergreen forest with heavy fog around him. The path on which he walked had been paved with stone slabs, and on both sides were stone lamps with candles inside them. Izuku looked around, but in heavy fog, he could only see along the path. He looked behind him to find a giant dark red torii. But behind the torii was no path, so he decided to follow the path. As he got to the end of the path, there was another torii and a staircase with about 50 steps, and every 5 steps another one. Izuku decided to go further and got going. As he was by the 9th, he saw 2 fox statues carved out of stone. They were beautifully manufactured and gave him some sort of nostalgic feeling. He could now finally see the sky, and saw that it was nighttime with a giant appealing full moon. On top of the staircase was a square about 50 m wide and 70 m in length. On the far end is a Shinto shrine, and the whole square is surrounded by tall wall. On the Ingawa asterisk of the shrine sat a woman. She is 172 centimeters tall. She has long silver hair, big melons, and silver fox ears, and 9 silver fox tails. Her iris is ruby red with 5 silver rays in it from the golden pupils. She wears a black and BLD red Miko dress. It still wasn't enough to hide her cleavage, though. She was taking a drag of a kizuru with a golden mouthpiece and bowl. The wood is a purple color with silver wood grain. Izuku was walking towards her as she was blowing purple smoke out. She was giving him a sense of familiarity. The moon illuminated the square, and Izuku stopped in front of her. Her hair was shining in the moonlight, with a much more intense silver color, as she spoke up. "Hello, child, what brings you to me at such a late hour?" she asked with a voice as soft as silk. Izuku blushes a little bit as he looks at her. She is, in his opinion, the most appealing woman he has ever seen. "Ah, YUSC, I am lost. The first moment I was at home, and the next I was here," he explains, shuddering a little. She takes a drag from her pipe and smiles at him as she puffs the smoke out. This smile gives him a warm feeling as she begins to talk again. "I see, my child." She started claiming him with her voice even more. "My name is..." With Inko, she just texted Recovery Girl that Izuku had just gotten his quirk. She also told her that he just collapsed out of nowhere and was now sleeping. Chiyo's response was to ask if she and Izuku could come over to you, so that she could check his quirk and monitor him if something happens. Inko wasn't sure, but said yes to it. They luckily only live a 10 minutes walk away from you. Main entrances, and she's gotten a special visitor's ID card from the new Principal Nizu. As she was walking with Izuku in her arms and his favorite blanket in his grip, she walked through the main entrance into the school building. On her way there, she meets Aizawa. The new principal had just offered him a teaching job at UA, but she excused herself quickly because of Izuku, but promised to catch up with him next time. She walked into the main building and straight towards the nurse offices. As she got there, she knocked and opened the door. "Hello, Lady Shizenji. It's me, Inko," Inko said as she walked into the room. The room had 3 beds, a desk, a few chairs, some cabinets, and a door that led to the storage room. At the desk sat Chio, and she turned towards the entrances. Hello, Inko, and didn't I tell you to drop the lady part? Chio asks, a little bit amused. She got up from her chair and led her to a bed where she set Izuku down. Chio quickly checked him if everything was okay, and, as confirmed it to be true, she sat next to Inko and asked her what they were doing and what had happened before. While we were watching a recording of my first year's sports festival, she said, causing Chio to remember that festival as well. And I was talking about how I met Namiri and the others. Back inside Izuku's dream, my name is Mayatsuki, but I think you know me as Inari. She revealed, shocking Izuku. Excuse me, Inari-sama, but why am I here, and where is here? Izuku asks as he bows to her, returning to his stuttering. Her response was a warm smile and a slight hand motion. With the motion, she created a pillow beneath Izuku, and the smile erased his fear. Please sit, my child, and please drop the sama, and call me Mia, okay? She asks, to which he nods. She takes another drag at her pipe and puffs the smoke out before she continues. And you are here because you finally manifested your quirk. A quick congratulation is in order. But before we go too deep into that, I give you a quick lesson in history. Quirks are by no means a new development. I can't say why they're so much more common now, but I know that everything magic, supernatural, or even divine was caused by a quirk one way or the other. In old Japan, gods and yokai were all people or animals with quirks. I personally knew the Joragumo and also Amaterasu. And yes, Joragumo really married a lumberjack, but she never ate people. Amaterasu is really the mother of the first emperor of Japan. But I met many more. I later traveled the world and met many different people. I met Merlin and other immortals that told stories from many different beings that all would become gods or legends. The rate of people and animals with quirks dropped drastically in the 17th to 22nd century. To this time, many other immortals died, and as far as I know, I was the only one left. I retreated back into Japan. I hid inside a shrine to avoid humans as much as possible. Their wars were stupid and disturbing. So I spent my time doing art and learning new skills. But with the internet, I iced a good chunk of interest in the outside world. I spent all day watching anime, reading manga/light novels, playing video games, and even writing a few light novels myself. With the dawn of quirks, little really changed for me, but a century ago, I was attacked by someone called Shigaraki. He could absorb quirks from others and use them as his own. I managed to escape, but he still managed to wound me. So I hid inside the mountains of Japan. Mia explained her history to Izuku, who was excitedly listening to her story. And that brings us to today and how we met. You will not remember, but when you were about a year old, you got seriously ill to the point of near death. I sensed that you were destined for greatness, and you are a descendant of mine, but not an ordinary one. It could have even been that you developed soul on your own. Shigaraki had wounded me badly and brought me to the verge of death. We both were at that time, so I decided to rescue myself and you. I transferred my entire being into you to cure your illness and save myself. She explains and then bows her head, dropping her pipe in the process. I'm sorry for using you as a means to rescue myself, but I would be dead if I didn't, but for what it is worth. I am truly sorry. She finished and bowed to Izuku even deeper. Please raise your head, Mia-san. I am happy I could save you, and I am also happy that you saved me, Izuku said as he was waving his hands in front of him. And I do remember your voice faintly. He confesses, making her smile a little. You will be mad at me when you hear what this implies to you. She began, still not meeting Izuku's eyes. You have now my quirk, soul. It made me from a normal fox into a kitsune, and from your ears I can guess so does it to you. I will also make you semi-mortal in the meaning that your body will age to about 25 years in appearance, and then stop aging entirely. I am sorry because I have stolen your future with my actions, she said, bowing again. Izuku just smiled at her. But if you didn't, none of us would have one. So please stop apologizing, Izuku said as he got up and hugged Mayatsuki. She was a little shocked by his actions, but hugged him back. Thank you, Izuku, she whispers as she decides to just enjoy the hug. After about a minute, she broke the hug and peeked Izuku's head. Does your quirk also come with some sort of power? And, oh, what is my quirk? Izuku asks as he sits back on his pillow. Mia picks her pipe back up that she dropped and takes a drag. Well, I will answer those questions in reverse order, she said, and made a little pause to blow out the purple smoke. Your quirk was called Flame. You could create small flames and control it and other non-quirk fire in a 3-meter radius. But when you got Soul for me, your quirk evolved to Absolute Flame. You can control and generate any flame type in a 10-meter radius around yourself. And to your other question, Soul gives you control over your soul. It gives you the power to shape-shift, fire energy attacks, and it stops your physical aging. It also gives an intelligence boost. And always remember the soul gives a body and appearances. She explains. Izuku looked at her and now understands why he became more calm over the course of the past week. What is going to happen now? Izuku asks. That is hard to say. A little bit of our memories fused together as you awoke your quirks. I think that will become no problem. We will simply share memories. Our personalities will not merge, and I will be on your side if you need help. She guessed and hoped that this wouldn't stop or even reverse his development into his own person. And what happens yet is that you will go to sleep, and when you wake up, we will train a bit with both of your quirks. She explained and then continued. As for me, I will take control of your body and talk to your mother about what we talked about. If this sounds good to you. She voiced her idea and smiled at him warmly again, making Izuku blush as he looked away. I think that sounds nice, he says, shuddering quite badly. Would you like to lay in my lap as you sleep? Mia asks as she looks at Izuku, who becomes a fox strawberry with his freckles, red face, and green hair and ears, but he still nods. Not even a minute later, he lies asleep in her lap as she strokes his head and gives him a quick kiss on the forehead. Have a nice dream, my little Zuzu. Outside with Inko and Chio, Inko had told Chio about what had happened, and Chio had done a few tests with Izuku. He was healthy and had his quirk, but she couldn't discover what his quirk really is. Both were talking about Izuku as they suddenly heard a puff. Both turned towards Izuku, but instead of Izuku, there was a busty woman with silver hair, fox ears, and a silver fox tail. She wears Izuku's t-shirt, but it is stretched to its limits by her bub. The same goes for Izuku's shorts. Both Inko and Chio were confused and just stared at her. Inko was even blushing a bit by the sight of the woman in these tight clothes. Erg, that is way too tight, she said as she pulled at the shirt and shorts until with another poof the shorts and shirt changed into a BLD red and black Miko dress. PFFF, that's better, she said as she turned towards the two. You must be Izuku's mother. It is a pleasure to meet you. I am Ayatushi, and you could say I'm one of his quirks. She introduced herself to those two, confusing them even more. Inko was the first to come back to sense. You are his quirk. What do you mean? Inko asks, still confused but less concerned about her baby. Okay, where do I begin? Oh well, first, do you remember the time when Izuku was about 1 year old and he was on the verge of death? Well, I healed him from that by transferring my entire being into him. I used to be the goddess Inari, but please call me Mia. You see, quirk existed long before the dawn of quirks, but less common. In general, if something unnatural, supernatural, or divine happened, it was because of a quirk. She began suppressing both Chio and Inko. Chio, because she had tried to heal Izuku at the time, but nothing worked. Inko, because the reason that her Aizu was healed was a live goddess, and both because of the quirk part. Okay, so why would you give yourself up? Chio asks. You must have been one of the most powerful beings out there. Well, first of all, I wasn't as powerful as you may think. My quirk was called Soul. It gave me power over my soul and the soul of everyone I touched, but not in a control kind of way, but a reshape way. I didn't tell Izuku about the part of my quirk that lets me reshape other souls. The soul gives every being its form, so by reshaping the soul, you reshape the form of the being. Mia explains, shocking both of them. I will tell the truth. I didn't always do good with my power, and I didn't want Izuku to get a bad idea because of it. I will still watch him and stop him if needed, and tell him a little bit later about the second espaced of soul. She says, a bit sad about her past. Second, I was mortally wounded a century ago. Not even I could heal the wound. I was dying at the time, so I decided to use the last bit of my life for a last good deed. She explains as she summoned her Kizaru to take a drag, but was stopped by Inko, who teleported in front of her and grabbed it. That is still my son's body, so no smoking. Am I understood? She asks angrily, to which Mia could only nod. Good, now continue. Inko says as she sits back down and crosses her arms. Mia looks at Chio, who only shrugged in response. I had a feeling that he was going to be special. No matter if he will become a villain, a hero, or something else, he will become great, and he will change the world. She explains with a smile. You are a descendant of me, Inko-san. I will tell you more later. But the most important part is that I will protect him. She finished as she crossed her arms and closed her eyes. I had 2 questions. Chio began, to which Mia nodded. Could you heal someone with your quirk, and who is it that wounded you? Asked Chio, as both Inko and Mia look at her. Well, I used to heal with my quirk. I used it to heal Nobunaga Oda from a mortal wound. She says as she looks with a smile out of the window, which vanishes quickly. And the person that wounded me called himself Shigaraki, and he could steal quirks by touching a person. I could flee before he could steal my quirk, but he still wounded me mortally. She explains, confusing Inko further, but shocking Chio. He attacked you. Now, both Inko and Mia look at Chio. You know him. I don't know him, but I heard of him. He was named after his quirk, all for one because nobody knew his name. He killed Nana Shimura about 10 years ago. She was a friend of mine and the mentor of All Might. Only Nizu, Gran Torino, All Might, and me know about him and how dangerous he is. Chio explains, but neither I or any of the others have heard his real name. Chio explains, this frightens Inko. So will he now be after my little Izu? She asks, concerned. I don't think so. I have hidden myself a century from him after he wounded me, and he doesn't even know if I'm still alive or died the day he attacked me. And even if he comes after him, I will protect him with everything I have. Mia exclaims as she pumps her arms up. Inko and Chio looked at her and silently thanked her. Mia, I must thank you for rescuing my Izu, and I am happy that he can be happy and lives. But what is Izu's quirk? Inko asks, hoping to change the topic from this monster and death to something more normal. Mia knew what she was doing and helped her. His quirk is called Flame, but through Soul, it evolved into Absolute Flame. He can control and generate any flame type in a 10-meter radius around him, and yes, this includes quirk fire. Mia explains as she generates an orange ball of fire that first blinks and then smiles. This quirk also controls what it burns and how hot or cold the fire will be, and that was always a part of his quirk. Mia finishes the explanation as she looks at both of them. Do either of you have a last question? She asks, and both say that they have, but would wait until a later time. Okay, then I will give Izuku his body back, and let him sleep. He will wake up tomorrow morning. And with that being said, her body goes up in white smoke, and Izuku lies there asleep, smiling and clinching to his blanket again, but still in Mia's Miko dress. They both decided to just tuck him in and worry later about clothing for him. Should we go to Nizu and talk with him about this? Offered Chio, to which Inko nods. They walk in silences to Nizu's offices. Chio knocked and walked in, Inko close behind her. Principal Nizu, we have a guest, and we both would like to talk to you about something. Chio said as she entered his office together with Inko. Chio-san, Midoriya-san, what brings you into my offices? Nizu asks. Inko was surprised by his appearance. He is an 85 centimeters tall man that looks like a fusion between a dog, a mouse, and a bear. His fur is white, and he wears a white dress shirt, a dark red tie around his neck, a black double-breasted waistcoat, and matching dress pants. His orange lace-up sneakers with incredibly thick soles look way too big for him. I didn't expect you until next week, Midoriya-san. Why were you expecting me to visit? Inko asks, confused yet again. So you didn't get the invitation. I have sent you an invitation to discuss a potential job as a teacher. This supersesses Inko yet again, but before she can answer, Chio speaks up. Could you discuss that after I have told you about the reason we are here? Chio asks, to which both nod. Okay, it is about Inko's son. His quirk awoke today, and he is a special case. First, he has two completely separate quirks. Chio began to explain the whole story they had heard from Mayatuski, which brought a smile to Nizu's face. Okay, I think I get it. So he has two extremely powerful quirks, and the original owner of one of his quirks still lives in him. Nizu summarized as he looked at a few documents. Well, that isn't all. Inko told. She also told a little bit about her life, and that she is older than quirks, and that if in history something is divine, magic, or supernatural, it is with a high possibility a quirk at work. This got a mad laughter out of Nizu as he splashed his tea into his mouth and over his clothes. Ha ha ha, finally. This proves my theory about those things is true. Nizu shouted out as he pushed his paws up. Asterisk cough asterisk I see. So, this Mayatuski is also known as the goddess Inari. This will make things much more exciting than I thought it would, to be principal. He turned to Chio. Thanks for the information on everything and also about All for One, Chio-san. I would now talk with Midoriya-san about the teaching position. He nods at Inko. Could you please go and check on Izuku-san if everything is okay? He asks. That is my job, Chio said as she turned to Inko. I hope you take this opportunity, Inko, she said as she left the office and got back to her office to check on Izuku. Before we start, would you like some tea, Midoriya-san? Nizu offered, as he motioned towards his tea set. I would love to, and please call me Inko. Inko said, I don't have a special wish for tea. Please recommend me one. Oh, with pleasure. How about a green tea for the start? Nizu recommended, which Inko answered with yes. Nizu served her the tea and began to speak. So, Inko-san, I would like to invite you into as our new law teacher. We would be equally paid as the other teachers, and you could still work as a lawyer next to it. Nizu told her about the job and what she would do. Inko acknowledged it and thought about it. I haven't used my quirk for anything major in quite a while, so I would need a spot to train at least a little and a license to use my quirk at least at school. Inko began. And I would be good if I had a spot for Izuku to train his quirks when he gets older. If these terms are met, I would start teaching here at you. Inko stated with confidence. MHHH, I find those terms acceptable. You would start after the summer vacation. I will get you a license for your quirk, and you could train your quirk during the summer break, and we will get Izuku a training spot when he is old enough. Nizu responded with a smile. To your info, I have also offered Aizawa-san, Namuri-san, Hizashi-san, and Oboro-san a job as well. Nizu said, surprising Inko that her friends would also be teachers. Is Sir Torino still a teacher here? Inko asks, a little bit frightened. Yes, but he will retire after this school year is over. I have invited the others to the next teacher meeting. You can come as well if you like. Nizu offered, and Inko accepted. She asks if she could sleep in the nurse office in case Izuku wakes up. He says yes to those questions, and Inko thanks, and leaves to get something and check on Izuku. The next day in Recovery Girl's offices, it is Monday. Inko had taken a week off and had said to the daycare that Izuku would be at home the coming week. Both Inko and Chio sat in the nurse office and were waiting for Izuku to wake up. Inko had slept in the office, but had gone home to get some clothes for him, and Chio was at work a bit earlier than usual. Izuku was about to wake up, and both were anticipating that moment. Asterisk yawn, asterisk where am I? Izuku asks as he looks around the room. Oh, hello, Mommy. He yelled out as he jumped towards Inko. Good morning. How did you sleep? Inko asks, as excited as he was. I have talked to Mayatuski a lot and how my quirk works, he said as he created a little flame ball that smiles. See, I can do it. Please be careful what you do, Izuku, Chio said, a little annoyed. Izuku, in response, extinguished the flame ball, and he jumped a little. Please don't be scared, I won't bite. It was just a concert because of fire safety. Chio says, getting into her friendly grandma mode, and pets his head, which Izuku enjoys and even purrs at a little. My name is Chio Shizenji, but I think you know me better as the youthful heroine, Recovery Girl. She introduced herself with a smile. I heard of you. You're the best healing hero in all of Japan. Izuku said with a bright smile. It is nice to meet you, Recovery Girl, and thank you for looking after me. He bows to her a little. Okay, Izuku, could you tell me what Mia told you about your quirk and what you feel different? Chio asks as she pulls a notepad from her desk and readies herself to write what Izuku says. He tells him about what Mia told him and what he felt and experienced the past week. The memories, and that he would only age to the age of 25, physical. He also told them about the feeling of people around him. But he also told the extensive history that Mia had told him about. Both Chio and Inko were surprised to hear stories of the past, and from figures like Amaterasu on top of it. As he finished, Inko told him that she would be a teacher at U, which he finds absolutely amazing. Chio wasn't really superseded to hear that Soul also gave Izuku a little intelligence boost. Inko had said, as they were talking about his quirk, that he was much more intelligent than other kids his age. Inko decided that they should go home and think about a name for his quirk and what he says his quirk is. She intended to tell him about how dangerous it could be if someone heard what his quirk can do. But Izuku came first to her and told her that he didn't want to be praised because of his quirk and that it could be dangerous if somehow Shigaraki heard of him and what his quirk can do. So they decided that Izuku will say his quirk is called Fox, and it gives him fox ears, a foxtail, and sharpens his senses. He told Inko that he would talk a bit with Mia and that he would wake up when the meal is finished. Inko agreed and said that he should greeting Mia from her. Izuku lays on the couch and quickly goes to sleep. Izuku's dream, he finds himself where he left off last time, in the lap of Mia. She was again petting his head. He enjoyed it and closed his eyes for a moment to simply enjoy it. She stopped after about 5 minutes, and he sat up. This time the square was illuminated with daylight. The square was surrounded by evergreen trees about 20 meters tall outside of the wall. The sky had a turquoise color, and as he looked around, he noticed that there were 2 suns. The first one is a flaming orange, yellow, reddish color. She was to the right over the trees from the shrine building. The second is to the left from the shrine building. She has a purple/pinkish color with black and blue spots. The square walls have black roof tiles on top, and the walls have wine-red support beams and pillars. Izuku turned now to Mia, who was smiling at him. "Good morning, Mia-sama," he said as he bowed a little. She now looked a little bit annoyed. "Drop the formalities. But if you must, then please call me Miyane or One-E-san," she said, not being 100% serious, but Izuku liked it. "Okay, Miyane-san," he said with a 1,000-watt smile. After seeing that smile, she couldn't say no, so she just stuck with it. "What are we talking about today?" Izuku asks, with a now curious look. "Oh, and I'm supposed to say hi for Mom." "So hi." "That's kind of her. And to your question, I would say I could tell you a little bit about your quirk in this place," Mia said as she gestured to the square. "This square represents your body, the things in it your subconsciousness, the suns are your quirks, and this building is your knowledge, and if you look inside, you see it is mostly empty. The shrine has 2 basements, one in the west wing and one in the east wing. The one in the west wing represents your memories, the one in the east mine." She began, showing him around as they were talking. In the main hall of the shrine, where the altar would normally be, are 2 kakemono. The left one has a flame one, the background is black, and the flame is orange, red with a few purple and blue spots. Over the flame in black kanji are the words Absolute Flame. The right one has a black background as well, and on it is a purple/bluish orb with pink and white rays around it and green cracks over it. The black kanji over the orb displayed the word Soul. In front of the kakemono are 2 pedestals with 1 book each. Izuku was too short to look at them, so Mia lifted him up and showed him the book. The one in front of the fire kakemono is a black book with a golden flame. One top of it inside the flame is an emerald. The one in front of the soul kakemono is dark purple color and has silver metal ornaments like circles or petals. In the center of them was a ruby. The book also had a gold look on its side. "Why is this book locked?" Izuku asks as he points at the soul book. "I don't really know why it is locked," Mia said, but Izuku could hear her lying, but decided to not push it. Izuku found a mirror in the shrine and looked at himself. He is wearing a Haidatear in All Might colors. If he didn't know better, he had said that his All Might onesie was made into a Haidatear. He had his fox ears and foxtail. His eyes had now slit pupils, and his iris had golden circles around it. There were also purple rays from his pupils to the golden circles, but his iris remained his natural emerald green color. The thing he didn't notice until the second look is that his sclera is gray instead of white. He didn't mind it for now and got back to Mia. "Can we talk even if I am not her?" he asks as he looks at her. "Well, I can look if I can hear what you think, but I have no way at the time to see outside except through your memories. But I still can sense people around you, and it looks like your mother is on the way to wake you up." Mia explains as she sits down where she sat the first time they met. Izuku got to her and laid his head into her lap and began to sleep. Outside, Inko had just finished cooking and was about to wake Izuku up as he opened his eyes and yawned. He looked around and then smiled at Inko. "Miyane-san, are you there?" He called out inside his mind and got an answer. "Yeah, I am here. Where should I go without you?" she asked with a small giggle. He quickly shook his head, got up, and followed his mom to the living room where she had readied the meal. They talked a bit, and Izuku got up and played with his All Might figures when he was finished. They visited the Bakugas, and he and Katsuki played together. Meanwhile, Inko talked to Masaru and Mitsuki. Inko also told them about her new position as teacher when Katsuki was out of earshot. She wanted to surprise him when he got to The week at home passed quickly, and after he got back to the daycare, he was first showered with questions because of his quirk, but all went back to normal quickly except that Katsuki didn't look happy that he wasn't the center of attention. Inside, he blamed Izuku, but didn't say it out loud. Mia could still sense it, but decided to not tell Izuku at the moment. Time skipped to Izuku, age 9. It's been 5 years since his quirks awoke. He has trained with his quirks many times and also started to study a bit of human biology and medication since Mia had told him about the possible healing of others. She also told him that his quirk is dangerous if used incorrectly, and what she had done in the past was soul. He was a bit shocked, but forgave his one-san. He learned about the drawbacks of both of his quirks. Flame's drawback was nosebleed and a headache if overused. Soul's drawback by overuse is a hangover. On his 9th birthday, he got a second tail, but decided to hide it using Soul. Katsuki had stopped talking to him when they were 6 years old, but Mia said that it is his decision to make and that Izuku shouldn't chase after him, and he agreed. He has also developed a crush on Mia, but doesn't know what it is. Inko became a good teacher for the students at UA, and divorced from Hisashi with the words, "May God have mercy with him and give him kidney stones." She was supported by her friends, and even got a divorce party afterwards. Hisashi didn't even come to a single meeting about the divorce and got nothing. She has trained a lot and was now in top shape, and is now as fit as she was in her first year at UA. She even got a pro hero license if needed to use her mighty quirk telekinesis that could move up to 100 metric tons in a 1-kilometer radius around her. She now also teaches the Hero Corps students by throwing cement blocks after them. It was a weekend, and Izuku was training with his quirk in Gym Gamma. Cementos had made a parkour for him, another thing he had begun doing and enjoyed. He can relax the most if he is in motion, and parkour is perfect for his needs. He had just finished a round as he sensed and heard commotion. He quickly went there and met his mother. She told him that a pro hero was extremely wounded and that he could die. Izuku said that he wanted to help, but Inko shot him down and said that he is far too wounded to help him with his healing at the moment. His next instinct was to wait of Recovery Girl with his mother, so he did that. "Which hero was so badly wounded, Mom?" he asked. Inko was silent for a moment before speaking up. "All Might, I heard he tried to confront Shigaraki," she revealed, shocking both Izuku and Mia. "He apparently even did it and killed him." She continued. Izuku didn't feel bad for Shigaraki because this guy was a monster from everything he had heard from Mia. Mia was meanwhile trying to sense Shigaraki inside of Japan, and she found him. He was too weak for an exact position, but she knew he was still alive. She quickly told Izuku, who got pale after hearing that. "Izuku, what's wrong?" "Mia, she just told me that he is still alive and out there," he said, shocking his mother. She also said that he is far too weak to say where he is. "Okay, let's go to Nizu and tell him about it," Inko said as she pulled him up, and both quickly went to the principal's offices. In the offices were Gran Torino, an extremely short, 120 centimeters, elderly man with heavy wrinkles. A scrawny build, gray hair, with some bangs hanging forward and a gray trim beard. His costume is a full-body monochrome suit along with a yellow cape, a belt with the letter G on it, very thick yellow gloves and boots, and a dark domino mask. Sir Naitai, a lean but muscular man with rather sharp and elongated features. He is 200 centimeters tall and wears a plain white suit with gold buttons, a white dress shirt, and a red tie with white dots. He also wears glasses, and his hair is green with yellow streaks. And Nizu all talking about All Might's wound. As suddenly the door flies open and Inko and Izuku step in. He is still alive. Inko began before either of the three could ask what's going on. Shigaraki has survived, but Mia says she can't sense him because of his weakened state, but his presence didn't vanish. Inko explains while Izuku was standing behind her nodding restlessly. The three-man looked at them too, in confusion and one in distress. That is seriously bad news, Nizu said, while the other two still weren't brighter. Gran Torino knew Inko and knew that she was now working at you, but he didn't know that kid, and certainly not Amiya. Sir Naitai was even worse, because he didn't know anyone here except for Torino and Nizu, and neither had heard the name Shigaraki before. Cough before you continue. Could you please introduce us, so that we all are one the same boot? Torino asks, as he looks at Nizu. Inko, Izuku, I think you know those two, but these two gentlemen are Gran Torino and Sir Naitai. Gran Torino, Sir Naitai. These two are Inko and Izuku Midoriya. She is a teacher at you. And he is her son. He began making eye contact with Izuku to ask permission to tell about Mia. Izuku understands and nods. Okay, Shigaraki is the real name of the villain All for One. This got a reaction out of both of them. How do you know that? What? Torino and Sir scream over each other. Nizu sighs, and Izuku covers his ears because it was too loud. We learned that name 5 years ago, when Izuku here got his quirk. Nizu said while gesturing to Izuku, who hid a little behind his mother's leg, and waved it silenced both of them in confusion. You see, Izuku here actually has 2 quirks, and his second is the important one. You see, the second one is transferred from someone else. Her name was Mayatuski, or as she was called in the legends, Inari. This let those poor man's jaws drop. First a second transferable quirk, then a goddess. What comes next magic is real. Both thoughts. She still kind of lives in Izuku's body as her quirk is called soul. She has transferred her soul into him in an attempt to heal him when he nearly died when he was 1. She could resurface with his quirk manifestation. She told him that quirks existed a long time before the dawn of quirks, and that if something is magic, divine, or supernatural, it was a quirk. Her quirk allowed her to reform souls and stopped her bodily aging at 25 years old. She has lived for longer than modern recordings of time. She has encountered him once, got to know his name, got mortally wounded, and lived to tell the tale. Nizu finished up, giving both men a heading. And Inko, thanks for informing me, but at the moment we can't do a thing about it. You can go back to what you were doing. We will take another time. Inko, Nizu told her. Both Izuku and Inko said good day to the men and went back to the infirmary to help if needed. Nizu and the others talked about what they heard for a bit before they got a message from Recovery Girl saying that he will survive. A week later, All Might have receded much damage on his respiratory system, including a missing lung, as well as damage to his digestive organs, including a big chunk missing from his stomach. He is still comatose from Recovery Girl's quirk, the surgery, and the high amounts of painkillers that were needed. Recovery Girl has planned to let Izuku use Soul today to reform at least a bit of what was lost. Izuku nearly had a panic attack as he saw All Might. He had obviously lost weight and a little bit in height. Mia quickly calmed him down and told him that together they could help him. Izuku quickly laid his hands on All Might. He nearly died out of fanboying overload because he touched All Might and began to heal him with support from Mia. After about half an hour of careful forming, they were done, and All Might could heal naturally. Izuku left after that with Inko, and Izuku didn't get to know anything about the aftermatch. All Might blinked. He felt weak. Where was he? The last thing he remembered was, All for One. He thought, shot up, wincing in pain and letting himself fall down. He looks around and notices that he is at UA, in the infirmary to be precise. After all those years, I still land in the infirmary at UA. He thinks about his final fight and how it ended, and he quickly becomes bored just laying there, so he tries to get up again, but is this time hit with a can from the door. He looks over and sees Recovery Girl. "I'm only 5 minutes away to get a coffee, and you do stupid things, Aegean," she said as he looked mischievous back at her, rubbing the backside of his head. "I'm sorry, but I got bored," he answers, getting hit by a second can. "Be happy, Ku can be Borat after what you went through," she said angrily at him. "If it wasn't such a pain to put you back together, I would have ripped you to shreds," she told. "I'm sorry, and thank you for helping me," he says, getting the message she had sent. "I can't be too mad at you for long after what you went through," she said with a little smile. "I will inform Surahiro, Mirai, Nizu, and Detective Tsukachi that you are awake," she said as she got up and walked to the door, only to turn around one last time. "I think you will completely heal if you don't overexert yourself," she told him, and walked out of the room before he could reply. About half an hour later, we're all Gitterard around All Might's bed. Sir Naitai, whose real name is Mirai Sasaki, sat to the right of All Might's bed at the headboard. Gran Torino, whose real name is Sorahiko Torino, sat on All Might's left side at the headboard. Nizu sat also left, but at the foot end, and Detective Naomasa Tsukachi, also known as True Man, sat on the right side at the foot end of the bed. Recovery Girl watched the whole thing from her desk. They were talking about how he ended up here and what had happened to One for All, aka Shigaraki. It shocked All Might to hear the name of his sworn foe. With the knowledge of AFO being alive, All Might said that they needed to find a good candidate to transfer One for All to, just in case, and that they all at least find one candidate in the next 5 years. Chio decided to just let them talk and don't tell them that Izuku healed All Might. Both Sorahiko as well as Mirai knew of his condition, and he didn't need more attention from both sides. They talked for about an hour, and after that they left, leaving All Might and Chio alone in the infirmary. Time skipped to Izuku, age 14. Izuku sat inside school. He was fairly popular, even if he would nobody call his friend here. The teacher was saying something about the future and the carrier they would choose. "But who am I kidding? You all want to become heroes," he said as he threw the application papers into the air. "It will be fun to collect," thought Izuku as he looked at the flying papiers as everyone around him used their quirks. You all have great quirks, but it is forbidden to use them at the school," the teacher said, as suddenly Bakugu screamed up, getting the full attention. "Ichiwai, teach don't lump me in the same pot as those losers," he said while placing a foot on top of his desk and letting explosions pop from his hand. "I will become the next #1 hero, and that's why I will go to UA High School," he announced as the teacher was picking up the papers. This got mumbling out of the other students. You are right. You will surely become the greatest #1 hero," the teacher said, showing a lot of favoritism. Izuku, meanwhile, was just watching clouds and talking to Mia. She had taught him the way of the sword from many different countries and time periods. It has its benefits to have a 2,500+ years old fox goddess living inside you. They were talking a bit, and Izuku was about to take a nap to just get away from the annoying school, as suddenly he heard his name. His ears twitched, and he turned to the teacher who was talking. "You also have applied to you? Hey, isn't that right?" he asks in an accusing voice. "Yo, what's so big about it?" he asked, catching the teacher off guard, but before he could say anything, Bakuga goes in between. "What did I hear there, you stupid YKO star?" he screams at Izuku, who in Rispos covers his ears and just looks at Bakugu. "They don't need your stupid yokai, but there, and I will kill you if I find out you applied there," he threatens as the teacher just ignores the threat Bakugo just spoke. "Okay, first if you scream again into my face, I will bust your eardrums," he said with a sweet smile. "Second, how many times do I have to tell you to call me Zenko Asterisk if you want to call me by a nickname? And third, why does it matter where I applied for you?" he asks, not caring for the answer at all. Bakugu was about to retard when he was called by the teacher and asked to stop, like a dog being called back. Izuku thought, making Mia giggle. "We are not done, Yako," Bakugu said as he sat down again. The lesson continued as if nothing happened, and Izuku turned back to Cloud watching and talking with Mia. After the day was done, Izuku was approached by Bakugu and his two goons. Bakugu is a blonde with red eyes, a slightly insane look in his eyes, and spiky blonde hair. He is 175 centimeters tall, standing a little bit over Izuku's 170 centimeters, but his ears make them about the same height. The goon to Bakugu's right has shoulder-length brown and can extend his fingers. The goon to Bakugu's left has short black hair and can. I think he can make his teeth pointy, but I have no idea. Bakugu spoke up. What do you think about applying to UA? HAA Yako. He began as he started to crack explosions with his quirk. The teacher and the others had left the room. Izuku just stared at Bakugu, who was about to let an explosion into Izuku's face, as he noticed Izuku's sword bag and lunged after it. What do you have here, Yako? He asks as he supersesses Izuku and grabs his sword bag. He quickly pulls the katana out of it and holds it in his right hand. Why do you have such a good sword, Yako? Have you stolen it? Bakugu asks. Izuku is radiating a dark aura as he is about to punch Bakugu. Both goons notice the aura and they take a step back. Bakugu is just stupid, doesn't notice his, or both. Izuku grabs Bakugu's right wrist and holds it strong, causing Bakugu pain. As he looks at Izuku, he sees the black aura and drops the sword. The aura instantaneously vanishes, and Izuku snatches the sword out of the air and quickly puts it back into the scabbard and sword's bag. Don't touch my things again, Izuku says in a low voice, but with enough power behind it to scare Bakugu and his goons. He leaves the school and takes the long route home to clean his head a little bit. He walks through an underpass and hears a metallic sound behind. A medium-sized invisibility cloak. As Izuku turned around, he saw a green, sludge-like villain. You could say a Ninko star. He says, chuckling at his own joke. Ah, kind sir, that may be a good joke, but I prefer to be called a Zenko. Izuku says, being completely serious. Oh, don't worry, Zenko. It will only take 45 seconds, and after that you will be a Ninko. The villain says as he lunges his whole body at Izuku and catches him inside of him, trying to force himself into his mouth. Izuku, in response, touches the villain and simply makes him unconscious with soul. A few seconds later, asterisk boom, asterisk I am here. Izuku turns to the loud voice and sees All Might, who noticed Izuku and the unconscious villain. Good work, young man, but please refrain from using your quirk without permission. He says he puts the villain into a soda bottle and puts it into his cargo shorts pocket and jumps into the air. Izuku sees that he is about to drop the villain and clinches to his leg in order to keep it inside. What are you doing, young man? Please let go. All Might says as he sees Izuku clinch it to his leg. Less naging and more landing. Izuku says as they land on a rooftop. All Might is about to jump again after Izuku lets go of his leg, but Izuku lays his hand on All Might and stops him in his tracks. Stop. You will lose the villain if you jump again, Izuku says as he lets go of All Might. As All Might starts smoking and reverts back to his true form. He now is 160 centimeters tall instead of his 220 centimeters and looks rather normal and not as muscular as he used to. This is an illusion, All Might says, flailing his hand in front of him. Yeah, I know about your wound, Izuku says as he looks bored. What do you mean you know about it? Small Might asks. I healed you. If I hadn't, you would have lost a good chunk of your digestive system and respiratory system. Izuku answers Small Might as his eyes widen. What is your name, young man? Izuku Midoriya. Thank you, young Midoriya. I hope to see you as a hero soon. All Might finishes as goes to the door, to the roof, and leaves. He checks on the bottle and notices that it is gone. Oh no! Izuku stays on the roof and looks over the city. He simply enjoys the view as he is talking to Mia again. Izuku still had the crush on her and now knew it was a crush. She didn't mind and enjoyed it as much as possible. With teasing, Izuku suddenly heard a boom and saw a giant smoke screen rising. He quickly got up and did some parkour over rooftops to get there faster. As he arrived, he saw a large crowd and the Pro Heroes MT Lady, Kimui Woods, Death Arms, and Backdraft. MT Lady Kimui, and Arms couldn't do a thing because they said their quirks were not suited and that the villain had a hostage. Izuku looked at the villain and facepalmed. It was the sludge villain, and he had Bakugu as hostage. What are the odds? So he decided to help a little by extinguishing the fire and helping the heroes. The heroes were surprised when the fire suddenly stopped, and Backdraft quickly showered the villain with water, freeing Bakugu and allowing Kinui Woods to recapture him. Izuku left the scene wiping BLD from his nose as he walked home. But he was stopped again by Small Might. "Hello again, young Midoriya," he said. "I would like to talk to you. Did you extinguish the fire at the scene?" "Yep, but let's talk elsewhere," Izuku replied and guided All Might to his home. "I'm home, and I have All Might with me," he announced into the house, causing All Might to choke on air. "That's great. Say hi from me," Inko replied from the kitchen. "Why are you in the kitchen?" he asks as he looks inside. "It is my turn to cook." "Well, you were late, so I decided to cook today," Inko said. Izuku sniffed the air and noticed that she was making her divine katsudan. "I will talk to All Might in the living room if you want to eavesdrop. He wants something from me," Izuku tells her as he goes to the living room to talk with All Might. "So, Mr. Might, what can I do for you today?" Izuku asks with a normal smile. So directly to the point. "I want you to inherit my quirk," Small Might announces, surprising Izuku, Mia, and Inko, who is indeed eavesdropping on them. "I know it is hard to believe, but my quirk is called One for All, and it's transferable. I am the 8th holder of this sacred torch, and I want you to become the 9th holder," he says. "Let me think. No, I don't want another reason why he would chase after me." Izuku refuses All Might's offer near instantaneously. "And if you want to give it to the next holder, tell them about Shigaraki." These both announcements shocked All Might, but what shocked him more is that his mother doesn't react to anything they said. "How do you know this name, and why would he chase after you?" Small Might asks. "Okay, I will answer them in order. First, or rather Mia, had revealed you the name when I was 4. Second, I have a quirk inside me that can grant semi-immortality. And to the unasked question about your quirk, I don't want it because it would give me too much power. Power corrupts, but absolute power absolute corrupts." He explained. "I think I understand. Living a really long life with so much power can be dangerous. You don't want to become your own villain," Small Might said, but the smiles. "I hope to see you at you." There's a long silence. "Please don't tell anyone. I think I understand. Living a really long life with so much power can be dangerous. You don't want to become your own villain," Small Might said, but the smiles. "I hope to see you at UA." There's a long silence. "Please don't tell anyone." Izuku and Mia are sitting together on the ingwa of the shrine in Izuku's mind. Both had mangas in their hands. Izuku is reading Rising of the Shield Hero, a recommendation from Mia to show him that villains and heroes are not always so different. Mia is reading Code Geass, Lelouch of the Rebellion. Both were just enjoying the night. Izuku would, when he sleeps, always land in his mind, and if he goes to sleep there, he would just wake up. So Mia has introduced him to manga, and he enjoyed them. "Me and Aya have a question. Why didn't you become a hero when quirks started to emerge?" Izuku asks as he looks up from his manga. "That is a complicated question," she says as she puts a bookmark on the page she is at and closes the manga. She summons her Kizaru and takes a drag. "I am, with a high possibility, the oldest living thing on this planet. I have seen things and actually acted for the most part like a god. I didn't interfere. The only times I stepped out and helped someone was when this person got my interest. Many of whom were blessed or cursed with some sort of power, or as they called today, quirks. I simply lived and had fun along the way. I didn't care for the consequences of my actions. Just hide a century, and you're just a legend again." She told Izuku, who had his ears up and listened carefully to her words. But with the dawn of Quirk, the tables turned. Suddenly, legends like myself are just one in a million. The hero system as you know it today is maybe 90 years old, if even that. It is the same reason why I didn't work with the government before the quirks. I would take away my freedom and maybe even kill me. It could be coincidence, but you see where it got me going out of my shrine after quirks appeared. She finished as Izuku nodded and looked a little down. Ichiwa, don't look sad, you have nothing, and I reap nothing to do with my wound. Do you understand? Mia asks angrily Izuku, who in response puts on a smile and sarcastically salutes. Yes, ma'am, yes, he says as he stands up. Mia just rolls her eyes and hits him with her manga on the head. If that's all, I will go back to reading, she said as she sat down and began to read again. Izuku quickly followed and sat down again and continued reading. The next day was the best of the week, Friday. He had just sat down in his seat as he watched Bakugo getting into the room, being praised for his brave and heroic actions yesterday. Heroic actions, but he was the victim of a villain, and the only thing he has done was setting the houses around him aflame. Yeah, but the real hero doesn't need praise for his actions, Mia said, making Izuku blush a little. Bakugo turned to Izuku to stare, but he quickly sat down and ignored Izuku and the others completely. He is pissed. He got the finest doses of reality that said he isn't the strongest around. That would make sense. He looked like he wanted to say something, but probably stopped because of yesterday. The teacher then walked into the classroom. He praised his favorite student while he just sulked unnoticeable, well, except for Izuku. He saw the look on Bakugo's face as he was praised to high hell. It was actually amusing to watch. Izuku was about to leave school grounds as he noticed that neither Bakugo or his goons tried to bother him. He just accepted it and began his trip to the trash beach. As he got there, he saw something that doesn't happen often. There was a girl with pink dreadlocks on the beach. It is something to see another person walk along the beach, but to be on it was something completely different. He goes on the beach, sometimes himself, to collect scrap or usable electro parts and sells them secondhand. It got him enough money to buy his sword and many mangas on top. He looked again to the girl and saw that she was building something. He couldn't see what because of the angel at which he stands in relation to her, so he only sees her back. He watched and then simply walked further along the beach. He was about 10 meters past her as he decided to watch again in her direction. She had steampunk-style glasses on and was building some type of cylindrical object. It looks like some sort of old vacuum, as suddenly boom, the thing she was working on explodes. It generates a large smoke screen. The explosion catapults her out of the smoke screen airborne. Izuku reacts on reflexes and runs to catch her. He jumps the last 2 meters and catches her out of the air. System message. Achievement. Catch the crazy girl. Mia announced in a fake robotic voice. Haha, you are so funny, Nasan. Izuku thought sarcastically. I know, and to your info, it is my job to make things funny. Mia informs him as he lands on the ground. Haha, nice catch, she says from Izuku's arms. His response is to drop her to the ground because she startled him. Ouch, that was uncalled for, but THX for the catch, she says as she gets up and clears herself of the dust and soot on her. I'm the greatest inventor on this side of Island. May Hatsum. I am on the watch list of half the countries on Earth. It is nice to meet you, Fox friend. May announced. Hello, watch list girl. I am the godly messenger Fox, Izuku Midoriya, but if you want to call me a nickname, then please call me Zenko. Izuku said with a smirk. Hello Zenko-san, you can call me May. Are you in connection with Inari as a messenger Fox of the gods? May asks, being completely serious. Yes, she's basically my big sister. Izuku says it as a joke, even if he knew it as reality. What were you doing out there, May-san? That is simple. As the best inventor, I was building a baby of mine, because which great inventor wouldn't build new ones whenever she can? May said with a goofy smile. Well, thanks for the answer, but Izuku looks at the black crater the explosion has caused. Are you unharmed? The explosion looked dangerous, but you seem fine, Izuku said as he scratched the back of his head. Yeah, that wasn't the first time it happened, so no biggies. May told him. But Zenko, are you my goddess-sent test dummy? I need more data if I want to get into UA, and you seem super fit. Izuku is about to say something as he remembers what Mia told him. A woman always gets what she wants. But before he agrees, they are approached by 3 other people. A girl about 157 centimeters tall. She has long white hair all the way down to her, but her eyes are ruby-colored, and she has white bunny ears and a white bunny tail. She wears black training shorts, a black sports BR, and black sneakers. A boy about 170 centimeters. He has slightly spiky black hair, his eyes red as well. He wears red sweatpants with a black STRP, a red tank top, and red Crocs. Behind those two comes Small Might. He wears the same outfit as yesterday, a baggy white shirt and green cargo shorts, but as Small Might those are cargo pants. Is everything okay? We heard a loud explosion. Small Might began and immediately recognized Izuku, but didn't say anything. Izuku put his hand on Mai's mouth, and he began to talk. Well, we are fine. Mei here was building on one of her inventions, as it suddenly exploded. Nobody was harmed. Izuku explained as he pointed to the black crater. He then turns to Mei. What were you even building that could explode like that? I think it was some form of support gear for the hero, heat blast, and I connected the poles the wrong way. Mei says, making the other go silent, and Izuku facepalms. Let me guess you used a microwave transformer. Izuku asks as a joke. Yeah, those things give power. Mei said, stunning them all again. So, Zenko, would you now come along? We have babies to make. Mei said seriously, making the others blush. Inhale, exhale. Okay, please wait a moment, Mei. I want to know those two first. Izuku says as he points to the boy and girl that accomplished All Might. I am the great Rumi Usajiyama, and this idiot is Dash. I am Injiro Kirishima. Both introduce themselves. Asterisk off asterisk, my name is Tashinori Yagi. It is nice to meet you. Small Might introduce himself. Aha. Hello, I am the great Mei Hatsum, and this is my divine messenger Fox, Zenko. So you now know their names. Can we go now? Mei introduces herself and Izuku, and then turns to Izuku for her question. Izuku just sighs and turns to the three. I would like to talk more, but Inari-sama has taught me that a woman always gets what she wants. We can talk the next time we meet. Izuku says as he is pulled away by Mei. Izuku stopped simply being pulled along and walked next to Mei. They started to talk for a bit as Izuku got an idea made by Inari-sama. Hey Mei, what do you think of mechs? That's simple. I want to build one myself. But I lack material and I have no idea of the design or anything important. Mei said, sounding a bit sulky. If I gave you a design idea directly from Inari-sama. Izuku asks as he searches for something on his phone. That sounds wonderful. We could even use it to get into UA. Mei announced. Meanwhile, Izuku had found what he was searching for and presented it to Mei. Here, this is a so-called nightmare frame, a RPI 11 Glasgow to be exact. Izuku said as he showed Mei a picture of the mech. It is from an anime/manga series called Code Geass. This model is the first mass-produced in the anime, and I am Inari-sama, though would make a good starting point to build a mecha. Izuku explains while he hears Mia laughing in his head. Oh, that is perfect. It even has description about height, gross weight, and armor material. And these /Harken and Landspinner propulsion system are good ideas that could all be used if we built one ourselves. Mei said with sparkles in her eyes. Yes, sounds good, but are we? Izuku asks, a little confused. Yeah, you are my personal messenger, Fox, for Inari-sama, and I would never give up a test dummy like you. Mei said as they keep walking. Izuku just sighs and goes along with it. They arrive at Mei's house. It is a normal-looking house with a wide yard and 3 separate garages. They walk up to the second garage with Hatsum Industry, the door. Mei opens the door, and in it is her workshop. A simple workbench, many power tools and left and right storage racks with machine parts, electronics, and different kinds of metal, all mixed up. She also has a drawing table and a wall full of her designs. Okay, the first step is to make blueprints for the baby. Mei exclaims as she sets herself in front of the table. Zenko, please start my PC and pull up a few pictures of this Glasgow, Mei ordered as she scripted a few numbers down, including the height of 4, 24 meters and the gross weight of 7, 35 metric tons. Your computer asked for a password. That's simple, it's my favorite food. Mei, we literally only met today. So please tell me what is. Pudding. Mei exclaims while Izuku mumbles something. Where did she get the pudding? Never mind, there is a mini fridge under her desk. Izuku thought, as he pulled up a few pictures of the Glasgow from different angles. Here they are, Lady Mei. Izuku says with as much sarcasm as humanly possible. Mei still doesn't get it. They spent the next 2 hours drawing the plans, Mia giving her input now and then. They didn't know how to build a fax sphere, so they decided to put cameras into the head. The head has fox ears and the fingers have claws. Things like the hooks and land spinner will stay the same. But the biggest difference would be the armor. Instead of tungsten, they would use steel and aluminum. They also named the unit after the idea of Mia. The unit's name will be Mickey. So Mei, what are in the other garages? Izuku asks as looks over the plans for Mickey. Well, the first one is for my dad's cars, but the other is empty except for a few of my babies. Mei said as she looked over the blueprints again. Okay, then here's the plan. I will get scrap metal and electro parts from the dumb beach, and you will start to contract a hand as a proof of concept. After that, we move to the upper body and legs. If the legs aren't strong enough to support the upper body, then we don't even need to start with the arms. Izuku told Mei. Bunachi knows that 10 months are an extremely short amount of time for a full mecha to be built. Okay, so have fun with the hand. I will go to the beach. It is dash. Izuku looks at his phone clock. Dash 15:12. So, I will sort the parts we need for half an hour there and bring them here tomorrow. That sounds good. See you tomorrow, Zenko. Mei said as she got up and walked to her workbench. Izuku walked to the beach and met Karishma and Rumi again. They were cleaning the beach of the trash for a challenge from All Might. He told them that he would need stuff from the beach, mainly metals and electronic devices. They agreed to help Izuku a little to sort. They also found a car trailer, and Izuku said he would pull it to Mei's house. The other two said they would help Izuku and get strength training on top. Izuku then said that he must go and went home. His mother wasn't home yet, so he just started to make food as he was halfway done when she came home. He was making Italian pasta. They talked about their respective days and what they have planned for tomorrow. Apparently, his mother wanted to spend the day with Namuri. He told her about Mei and that he would meet her again tomorrow. The response from Inko was to sing about grandkids. Mia was laughing her butt off. Izuku just sighs and goes back to his food. The next day, Izuku got up at 6:30 and got ready. He put on some black sweatpants and a Gary shirt, dark blue steel-toe shoes, and a green jacket. He ate something and left a note for his mom. He left the house at 7 o'clock and went to the beach. He sorts trash for 2 hours in peace before Rumi and Ijiro come. They were the same thing as yesterday. They load the car trailer together and then push it to Mei's place. As they get there, they hear a new explosion and see smoke coming from the garage that Mei uses as a workshop. The three quickly ran to the door and saw Mei stumble out of the garage. She has apparently tried to use the microwave transformer and had blown the hand up. They placed the trailer in the yard. Rumi and Ijiro went back to the beach to clean it up. Izuku unloaded and went to help Mei build the hand. After about 3 hours, the hand was done and ready for testing. Mei, how long are you awake? Izuku asks, Mei, who looked even more hyper than usual. Aha, I think I hit the 78-hour mark in 20 minutes. So nothing to worry about when I get a little bit of chocolate. Mei said as she looked at the clock. How about a compromise? I will make the steel catch for the cockpit, and you will catch 1 hour of sleep. This way you get new ideas, and I finish the boring part in the process. Izuku told Mei, who quickly went to her couch and slept. I think you were right about the crazy girl part. Nason Izuku told Mia, never underestimate a goddess. She simply responded. Izuku worked for an hour at the framework and then woke Mei up. He intended to let her sleep for longer, but Mia advocated that she won't listen to him about sleeping again if he did that. So after she woke up, she inspected the framework. Aha, that's nicely done, but where did you get the metal from? I melted the steel parts from the beach with my quirk and casted it in the form. The rest of the metals have been put aside for later use. At 1800 hours, he told Mei that he would get home and that she also should try to get some sleep before she worked herself to the early grave. On his way home, Izuku looked by the beach and saw Rumi and Ijiro work and making a competition out of the cleaning. Hello, young Midoriya. It's good to see you. Yagi spoke up as he walked to Izuku and waved shortly at him. It is good to see you. Again, he made a small pause. What do you think of those two? They will both become great heroes, but do you think they will become great enough for it? He asks Izuku. No, he asks Mia directly. If you're struggling so much, then invite me also to the party when you will give it to the next person." Izuku proposed, and All Might accepted. They then parted ways and went to their homes respectively. A month later, the whole group had gotten fitter, even May. But the important part was that they had the cockpit up and running with all systems. They had also learned each other's quirks, or in Izuku's case, one of them, over the month. May's quirk was a simple one, and called Zoom. It allowed her to summon anything 5 kilometers in front of her. Ijiro's was also simple in nature and called Hardening. It hardens his body up to unbreakability, but it costs stamina to harden, so he is exhausted quickly, but slowly builds his stamina up. Rumi had like Izuku next to the mutation part of her quirk, an emitter part. The second part of her quirk is so different from her mutation quirk Rabbit that it got classified as a second quirk called Ratio. It allows her to divide her target with 10 lines and forcibly create a weak spot at the ratio point of 7:3. She can freely decide how and which part is divided, and it works on both organic as well as inorganic objects. Both Ijiro and Rumi helped to transport the materials to May, but were kept none the wiser about what May and Izuku were building. Mia was more than excited to see the mecha taking form and being constated by a bunch of 14 to 15-year-olds. I mean, if we can come this far in only a month with junk as supply, how much could someone do with a fully equipped lab and the right supplies? Who cares? Izuku thought as he got back to work. So the cockpit is done. Let's get the legs moving, May announced as the other two cheered at her. "Hey, May, maybe you can use it at the Spot Festival at UA and get first place with it," Izuku said with a cheeky grin from the hatch on top of the cockpit. Her eyes go wide as she thinks about the popular tie that would get her. The great inventor May had some in her mech. "But if you try and call me once more the father of any of your inventions, I will crush it," he threatened half seriously. He knew in his heart that only a mech is allowed to beat a mech. May didn't think too much of it, because she knew that Izuku would never destroy his handwork. Tomato, tomato. You just don't want to be called that in public. Here you are happy that you are the father of this baby, she retorts, making him blush a little and laugh. Izuku had gotten his third tail and decided to show it to May and only hide the extra 2 at school. I mean, what is there to lose? I am her test dummy and personal messenger to Inari-sama. There isn't much more she could do. Right. Okay, let's get back to work and finish Mickey, Izuku said, getting May to cheer. They then went back to work and started the legs. Another 7 months into the future, 2 months to the entrance exam, Izuku got an invite along with his mother to UA to attempt the handover of the sacred torch called One for All. They both agreed and went to wear their formal dress. Inko is 173 centimeters tall. She has undone her hair and lets it fall over her back. It is dark green in color, and she has a little green fox hairpin in it. She wears an emerald necklace, white elbow-long gloves, a green evening dress, and black dress shoes. Izuku is 174 centimeters tall. He has grown his hair out and has done it into a ponytail. It is dark emerald green in color with black tips, the same for his tails and ears. He wears black suit pants, a green dress shirt, gray dress shoes, a black suit jacket with a golden design that forms a fox, and a golden tie. As they got in the hall, they were one of the first ones to arrive. The others were Principal Nizu in his standard principal clothings and Chio in her recovery girl costume. The next to arrive is Mirai in his hero costume, and with him a blonde boy. His name is Mirio Togata. He is 181 centimeters tall and has blonde hair and blue eyes. He wears the Stand UA uniform. After that, Sorahiko in his hero costume arrives with 2 people, an orange-haired girl with side ponytail and a silver-haired boy with extreme eyelashes. The girl's name is Kendo Itsuka. She is 168 centimeters tall, and she has orange hair made into a side ponytail and big green eyes. She wears a wine red dress with red shoes. The boy's name is Tetsu. He is 174 centimeters tall and has shoulder-length silver hair and black eyes. He wears a silver suit with black highlights. The last to arrive is All Might in his muscle form together with Rumi and Ejiro. Rumi wears a black dress with mating purple knee-high boots and purple elbow-high gloves. Ejiro wears a red suit with black details. And then there is All Might. He wears an incredible, ugly yellow striped suit with a brown tie and black shoes. Thank you that you all have gathered here. Today we decide who will receive my quirk. All Might began from the podium of the hall, stunning Kendo, Tetsu, Mirio, Rumi, and Ijiro. As you know, I'm All Might, but my real name is Toshinori Yagi, and that you are here means you are a candidate to receive my quirk, one for all. He explains. Izuku then steps up and pushes him away from the podium. You go, I will take the history part. He says to All Might, making a few of them sweet drops as he sits on the podium. Okay, my name is Izuku Midoriya, and I have already declined, so I will tell you a little bit of history. He tells them about the pre-quirk quirks and about Shigaraki and his quirk, all for one, and what it means to take the opposing quirk one for all. All were stunned by his words and by his explanation. He also then told them about All Might's wound, and that they would need a resolution to be 100% a hero, to be worthy, to be the ninth holder of this secret torch. It isn't a bad thing to admit that you aren't ready yet for something so big. This is nothing that should be decided by one person on his way home in the middle of the street. And that's why we are here and why I told you about everything Coppel to this quirk. But always remember, it isn't the quirk that makes the hero, it is the heart. Izuku said as he got up from the podium and bowed to them, getting a round of applause started by Nizu. As the applause died down, he spoke up again. Could I talk with the candidates alone to decide which one should receive it, Nizu-san? Izuku asks the last part directly at Nizu, who agrees and leads them into a separate room with a round table. They all introduce themselves and their quirks and what they can do. Izuku introduces himself again and explains his absolute flame. Then goes Ijiro with his hardening and Tetsu with his metal, which is basically the same quirk in their explanations. After that goes Rumi, and she talks about rabbit and ratio. The next is Kendo and her quirk called Divergent. It lets her produce a type of energy that she can pump in her fists and body to strengthen her hits. If she lands a hit, a second one with the same force hits the opponent 1 second later. She can, with absolute concentration, reduce the time for the second hit to 0.001 seconds. This generates a black lightning that does extreme damage. The last one to introduce himself is Mirio, and his quirk is called Permeation. It lets him pass through any inanimate object. After a quick discussion, Ijiro, Tetsu, and Mirio say they don't want the quirk. Ijiro and Tetsu want to form a friendly rivalry at UA with similar quirks, and Mirio is a 3th year student next year, and he wants to show that every quirk can save people. So that leaves Itsuka and her Divergent and Rumi and her Ratio, both powerful abilities on their own. They decide to make a mock battle, but not against each other, but instead against Izuku. They walk back to the main room to inform the adults about their decisions about the quirk and how they would decide which one to give. The heroes were okay with their way of deciding for the quirk and gave the three a UA gym uniform, and they went to Gym Alpha. He talked quickly to All Might about something and went to change quickly. He got out of the locker room as Nizu was about to begin to explain the rules. Here are the rules. You will fight 3 rounds. The first is against the winner of the coin throw before the start, the second against the loser, and third against both together. You get 5 minutes for each fight, and then a 10 minutes rest PRD for Izuku. Except for the last round there, you get only 2 minutes. Izuku will explain after the match which one he thinks suits, one for all more. Nizu explains, as all 3 agreed with those rules. The coin was thrown, and it landed on heads, meaning that Rumi would go first. Okay, the first match will be young Rumi versus young Izuku. All Might began. Both got ready in their respective parts of the ring. All Might reverted back to his small might form and began the fight with a loud start. Both spirited at each other, and Rumi got ready for the first punch, but Izuku simply diverted the punch to the side and attacked himself, but she dodged the uppercut with a backflip. After the first engagement, they knew what to expect and continued the heavy exchange of blows. She managed to hit Izuku with 3 hits, but was self-hit all times. Izuku then put both his hands on her shoulders as he jumped over her and got a little bit ground. He then quickly turned around and created 4 medium-sized fireballs that he formed to look like arrows. As they left the 10-meter radius, they went up in smoke, obstructing the vision of Rumi for a few seconds. Izuku used that to jump in front of her. He punched, and she grabbed both his fists and both crashed heads together, smiling. As if they were mad, Izuku again formed 4 fireballs, and they shot in arcs to Rumi, hitting her. This also covers her in smoke, and she uses ratio to land a devastating kick to his stomach at the artificial weak point. This kick sends Izuku flying, but he catches himself with a few backflips. He then covers his hands in green fire, and he sprints to Rumi, and they start exchanging blows again. Rumi is slightly burned by the flames on Izuku's fists, but she manages to hit about every weak point she creates. They fight, but neither breaks away from the exchange of blows until a loud buzz sound stops them, and they jump away from each other. Rumi had burns all over her arms and upper body, but all could be healed by Recovery Girl. Izuku had a few broken bones, but he could heal them with Soul. He also had a slight burn on his arms, but he also healed them quickly. Izuku and Rumi got up and smirked at each other. "Not bad, Fox Boy. I hope we can fight again sometime," Rumi said as she reached out to shake hands. Izuku took her hand and shook it. "It was fun, and I hope to fight you again. Maybe on stage at the sports festival." Izuku proposed, to which Rumi agreed. After the 10-minute break, both Izuku and this time Kendo got into position. As All Might stepped up as announcer. "Okay, it is time for the second match. This time it will be young Kendo versus young Izuku. The rules are the same as for the first round, so give your all," he said as both got into position. "And start." With the signal, both combatants jumped forward and pulled a right hook at each other, but hitting the other's fist with their own. Both had the same power behind the punch until Kendo's Divergent activated. The second hit sent Izuku a little bit back and broke his guard. Kendo quickly followed up and sent a barrage of attacks into Izuku's way. He still managed to dodge a few, but was hit by the majority. She stopped after all her attacks connected, and Izuku laid on the ground, but he then jumps up and simply cleans himself of the dust. He then jumps forward and with both fists ready to punch, but he also creates flaming orbs around him and fires his Fire Fist barrage. Kendo still manages to counter a few, but is simply overwhelmed by the fire and Izuku's real firsts, and goes into a defensive position, shielding her face with her arms. After his attack loses some speed, she finds an opening and pulls an uppercut at his chin. The punch generates a black lightning and sends Izuku flying again, nearly knocking him out in the process. But before he can even land, the match is called by the buzz sound, and he simply lands and walks up to Kendo and shakes her hand. "That was a good match," he started. "I hope to fight you again," he simply says as he then walks to the side and collapses on a bank. Nizu and Shio quickly go to him, but he says he is okay and that he just needs a little rest before the next round. Izuku is fit again after the 10 minutes break and goes to the arena for the 3th and final fight against the two of them at the same time. All Might plays announcer at 3th time and begins to speak. "Okay, here is now the 3th and final fight. Young Rumi and young Kendo versus young Izuku. The rules stay the same, and so give it your all," he announced. "And start." As All Might gave the signal, both Rumi and Kendo ran at full speed to Izuku, pulling their right fist back and readying themselves to punch Izuku. In response, he created a wall of flames in front of him and shot arrows out of the wall. This stops both of them. Rumi dodges to the right, while Kendo dodges to the left. Both then circle the wall, and Kendo is the first and binds Izuku in exchange of blows. Meanwhile, Rumi also circles the wall and readies herself to attack Izuku's back. He notices that he is circled and creates foxes out of the flame wall. They jump at Rumi and stop her from attacking Izuku. She still quickly deals with them and attacks Izuku, who then dodges under one of Kendo's punches, evading both attacks. Rumi is hit by a black lightning punch of Kendo, and Kendo is hit by a flying kick of Rumi. Both attacks were dodged by Izuku, and they are strong enough to send the other flying. Rumi catches herself in midair, while Kendo hit the ground, but she made a backflip to get into a standing position again. Both made another dash into Izuku's direction, but before their hit could connect, they were again stopped by a buzz sound. Izuku notices that they can't stop their attacks, so he jumps in the air and dodges them. "Oh, that was fun," he said with a big grin. Let's do this again sometimes, he said as he pulled them both up, and they walked back to the hall for the final discussion about All Might's quirk. Okay, so as they said, neither Ijiro, Tetsu, or Mirio-senpai want one for all, Izuku said, and the three nodded. That only leaves Kendo and Rumi open. Both are skilled CQC fighters and are really skilled. But they also have their differences. Rumi focuses on precise, powerful attacks, while Kendo focuses on strong and quick attacks. Izuku explains. Kendo and Rumi agree with his assessment. I have asked All Might, and he knows less about his quirk and how it works than everyone else here. So that means I must, in relation to his fighting style, make the decision, and I would say that Kendo would have better ways to integrate the quirk into her style. He said. This shocked Kendo a little and made Rumi sulk a little, but she is quickly over it and congratulates Kendo. The others agree with his evaluation. The rest of the day is spent bonding between the teens. Tetsu and Ijiro challenge the rest to an arm wrestling competition. They all agree and they draw lots. The first pair is Ijiro versus Mirio, with Mirio as the winner. The second Rumi versus Kendo. It ends with a draw, and the third Izuku versus Tetsu, with Izuku as winner. The last round is Mirio versus Izuku. Izuku battles hard, but loses at the end against him. While the teens bond and get to know each other better, are the adults talking among each other. Sorahiko boasts about the fact that Kendo got the quirk and not one of the others. Inko and Nizu wondered who were the teens and who were the adults as they watched Mirai. Sorahiko and Yagi argue about who won and why he is the best teacher. On the next day, Izuku met up with Mei to finish building Mickey. The slash hooks and land spinner probation system worked in perfect order. The biggest problem was the high-voltage cable to Mei's workshop because they couldn't find a way to build an energy source that fits in a mech but leaves enough room for the pilot, computer, etc. So Izuku asks Mia, and she has an idea, but must look up if she finds her memories about it. Izuku got, in the meantime, back to working on the programming of the mech and the calibration of the movements of the legs and arms. Hey Mei, are there still problems with the energy sources? Izuku finally asks, after watching a frustrated Mei working on something for 10 minutes. She, in response, drops her tools and turns around to him. Hey Zenko, I'm trying to get our version of the Yggdrasil drive up and running for 30 hours straight now, and I haven't made any progress. She told him. Izuku scratches his cheek and looks at it. I even got such a wonderful name, Kitsune Drive. Mei told him. Here, look at this. Izuku says as he pulls a few documents out of his backpack. These are from a German fusion reactor called Stern. They got it running for 40 days with high energy output to power the facility and keep the reaction going. Mei looked at the documents as her eyes widened, and she gave a quick kiss to Izuku's cheek. Oh, thank you, Zenko. You are really a God-sent divine messenger. Mei announced as she read through the 20-page document describing a hydrogen-hydrogen fusion reactor, or as it is called in the papers, Stern. It was apparently destroyed after 40 days of working at no stop with a nearly 1% mass to energy conversion. And I researched a little for this part about the energy, and just go watch the unreasonable efficiency of black holes from minute physics for an in-depth explanation, but I will not go into even more details. This is foremost a fun story and not a scientific treatise. Stern was destroyed by an explosion. It was later discovered it was sabotage, but all but one member of the facility were killed. Mei got to work and engineered the new power source for Mickey. Asterisk 1 month later, 30 days until the entrance exam. Over the course of the last month, both Mei and Izuku had worked greatly on Mickey. Mei was permanently working on the new power source, a newly reinvented hydrogen-hydrogen fusion reactor. She gave it the name Tenko, meaning heavenly/celestial fox. There were still a few accidents with it that blew up some cables because of missing limiters and transformers. But it was now in working order and ready for its first test run. Izuku has worked on the calibration for the limbs so that they now move like the pilot wants to. He also painted Mickey in a gray/black color with Mickey in rad kanji for appealing princess. Today they would have a full test run with Mickey and Tenko as her power source. Izuku would pilot and Mei would monitor the readings of Tenko. They also invited Kendo, Rumi, Ijiro, and Tetsu to come and watch. Mei's reasoning was to have people as protection should something go wrong. Neither had built a cockpit ejection system because they thought it would get in the way and could destroy many things if accidentally triggered. Izuku sat inside of Mickey's cockpit on the first activation in case something went wrong. Mei was checking on the readings from Tenko. Rumi and Kendo were hiding behind Kirishima and Tetsu in case they must take cover. They were also filming the whole event with 16 cameras from 10 angels to analyze if something went wrong. Mei gave the signal that all readings were good and that the test could start. First activation test of Mickey is about to begin, Izuku announced over the speakers of the mech. Mei gave him a second OK sign and power on. With that, the mech starts at moving. Izuku could turn the head a little, but the most important parts were the arms, hands, and legs. All systems were listening to his control perfectly, and he could now move Mickey freely, without interference through the energy cable. He then grabbed a few weights he had prepared and lifted them without a hitch, even a 1-ton steel block. He got Mickey back in her support framework and shut the power off. After Izuku got out, he got cheering from Kendo and Rumi and manly cheering from Tetsu and Ijiro. Mei meanwhile checks on the readings from Tenko, but she doesn't see any problems. She then got up and cheered with the others. Izuku gave a thumbs up. But we aren't finished yet. Izuku said to Mei, who signed in response. I know. We must now look at all joints to check for wear and tear. Mei said as she got up, and they both began inspecting the joints. The others went home, and Mei and Izuku were still checking the joints. It had begun to rain, and they had to put up a tarp over Mickey to continue the inspection. Some really had wear, but all looked fine. Izuku sat down in the cockpit and inspected the electronics. After 2 hours of inspections, they were sure that nothing was damaged from the test. It was about 18 o'clock, and Izuku and Mei were still working. Izuku had called his mother and had told her that he would get home late, so she wouldn't worry. Mei then came up to the cockpit as both made a short break. The rain had stopped. Hey Zenko, I have a question about your quirk, Mei said as Izuku turned to her. He motioned for her to continue. Your quirk can't be plain and simply flame control and a fox mutation quirk, she stated bluntly. Izuku gave her a dry laugh. You're not wrong. I have 2 quirks. The first is my own called Absolute Flame. It lets me control and generate any type of flame in a 10-meter radius around me. He began explaining, getting a hum from Mei. The second is from Inari-sama. He then told Mei about Mia, the pre-quirk quirks, and how he gained his second quirk. She was understandably a little bit shocked, but she took it well. So you are really in contact with Inari-sama? Mei asks, which Izuku confirms. Ahaha the Great, Mei, is even known by Inari-sama. My fame even reaches gods. Mei yelled as they suddenly heard something from outside. Okay, what the F? Kato Hatsum said as he got back home and saw the mech in his yard. The mech is 20 meters tall and has a support structure built around the back. Mei and an unknown fox boy were looking out of a hatch. On the torso was the word Mickey in red kanji, and on the soles and the cockpit the word U, A in gold. Hey, Meow, what have you done now? Where did you get the mech? He screamed at them. Hello, Papa, and we built Mickey from scratch and scrape, Mei said as she looked to her right and saw Izuku. Ah, and this is Izuku Midoriya. He is my divine messenger that has brought me the idea for Mickey and her power source. Good day to you, sir. And please, I am your daughter's personal divine messenger. It is nice to meet you, and please call me Zenko, sir. Izuku said with a smile from the top of the mech. He liked it to be called Zenko, and the best part is he is a literal Zenko because he is in contact with Inari, even if she acts like his very broad, older sister. I'm a god, I can't hear you now. No, I didn't, and stop breaking the fourth wall. Yeah, you were just jealous that you don't have your own mech. That may or may not be true, but can we continue with the story now? I don't see a problem with that. Aham, hello Zenko. How long will it still be here? Kato asked. He doesn't want to know why he calls himself a divine messenger, but that is something to worry about later. Not at Papa, and she will leave with us for the exam. Mei explains, making her father nod. He didn't want any details, and he thinks he doesn't want any. He is a simple car mechanic with an extremely talented and crazy daughter. Nothing more. So he went into the house and would do the only thing sane. Pretend for the next 2 weeks that there wasn't a mecha in his yard that was built by his daughter. Yeah, nothing abnormal here. Oh, and before I forget it, he says, making Mei and Izuku turn to him. If you lay your hand on my daughter, you are dead, divine messenger or not. He threatened as he then simply closed the door behind him, not even waiting for Izuku's response. What does my dad mean? You helped to build Mickey. Mei said, completely clueless. This made Izuku facepalm. You know as well as I do that you looked at her bub more than once. You're not helping, Nei-san. And yeah, I looked at her bub, so what? Nothing. It's just amusing to tease you. Asterisk, this is annoying. Izuku said what? Nothing. Nothing, let's continue. I will give that a hey. Hey. Morning of the UA entrance exam, Izuku is seen making breakfast for his mother and himself. He is making pancakes with bacon and eggs. Today is a great day, isn't it? Mia asks. Yeah, but I'm already thrilled to see the faces of the teachers. Izuku answers with a smirk. Asterisk good. Yawn. Morning, Izu. Are you ready for the exam? Inko asks as she steps out her bedroom. She had smelled the meal Izuku was cooking and had a smile and a little bit of drool on her face. Hello, Mom. I think I am ready. Even if I failed to get into the hero course, I think my chances are pretty high that I get into general studies or into the support course. Izuku said with a smile. And if things go complete south, then Recovery Girl can take me as an apprentice. It would be the easiest route, but I want to get into UA on my own account. Izuku finishes as he packs an extra portion of the breakfast for Mei. Oh, and please warn them at UA to not destroy the mech. Izuku said as he walked towards the door. Okay, and Izuku. I'm looking forward to throwing concrete blocks at you. Inko said with an evil smirk. Ah, what would you look at the time? See you at UA Midoriya Sensei, ma'am. Izuku said with a mock salute, as he quickly left and ran to Mei's house. Izuku was in full sprint to Mei's house, getting there in only 25 minutes instead of 30. He looks at his clock, and it's 7:56. The exam for the support course is at 10 o'clock. The hero course exam is at 10:30. Hey, Mei, your favorite fox is here to get you mech to UA. Izuku said with a grin as he walked up to Mickey. He is tackled by Mei as she jumps out of nowhere and hugs him. Hello, Zenko. I wanted to thank you for the idea and everything, and my dad said that this was the best way. Mei said as she pushed her bub into his face. He freed himself and got up, pulling the extra meal from Mei out of his backpack. Here's your breakfast. Eat something while I start the startup process. Izuku said as he hands her the food and goes to Mickey, closely followed by Mei, who had opened the meal and now has pancake on a fork. Do wow thin, MWWWWLOE wine. Do you think Mickey will be fine? Mei tries to say with a full mouth and still stuffing more food in. Mei, please stop talking with your mouth full. Izuku says as he sits down in the pilot's seat. He pulls up a key and inserts it into the keyhole next to the keyboard. Where would WS Wu would? Wonwa. Your food is too good, Zenko. Mei said as she got behind Izuku, still eating the food and watching him start Mickey. I don't even know how I understand what you were saying, but I know I'm not going to question it. He turns the key and all monitors display. Hatsum Industry as the mech powers up. Okay, are you finished with the food? We need to pack a few tools, just in case. He says as he looks at Mei. MHH, that was good, and now to the tools. She said as both got up and started walking towards her workshop. They grabbed the special Mickey toolbox and put it in the back of the cockpit. Hey, Mei, where will you sit? We built Mickey to be a one-seater like the Glasgow, Izuku says, wondering how they didn't notice this detail. They had a whole month plane that they would take Mickey to get to UA. That's simple enough. I will just sit on your lap. Mei announces, that's how. Be real. You should have known that Mei would do this. Well, you are not wrong, but that doesn't mean you are right. Mei is just AF wild card. I am not going to argue with that. She is a wild card. As Izuku was talking with Mia, Mei jumped quickly over the seat and into his lap. So now I get a first row seat when you drive Mickey to UA. Mei said as she made herself comfortable in Izuku's lap. Asterisk, you know that you're a wild card, am I right? Izuku asks as he takes the controls and begins the startup process. Less talking, more walking. The great inventor wants to leave a good first impression. Mei said as she pulled a ruler and pointed forward. Yeah, I start now, Izuku said as he brought the land spinners down and started his drive to UA. The drive was an interesting experience. There was cheering for the simple fact that there was a mech driving through the city. Photos were also made, and the best part, random people with banner of the Holy Britannian Empire from Code Geass. Some even started to sing the Anthem of Britannia. Izuku, Mei, and even Mia were dumbfounded by how many people still enjoyed Code Geass, and by how many just carried a banner of fictional country with them. The arrival at UA wasn't much different from their drive, but Mei simply climbed out of the top hatch and then set herself on the hands of Mickey. Izuku drove her to the registration counter. Upon seeing her invention, they said to simply follow her to the training ground. As they arrived there, they were met by a grumpy pro-hero, Power Loader. His grumpiness vanished as he saw the pink-haired girl and her mech behind her. Hello, I am the excavation hero. Power Loader, but please call me Majima-sensei. Mississippi, Majima began as he extended his hand for a handshake. Mei quickly grabbed it and shook his hand. He directly noticed that she had a strong grip. Good day, sir. My name is Mei Hatsum, and I'm the great CO inventor of Mickey behind me. Mei was full of pride at her announcement. This still confused Majima, as he didn't see anyone else. Where is this co-inventor of the robot behind you? He asks now, a little bit more confused. But his question was answered as Izuku opened the hatch on top and climbed next to the head. I'm up here. My name is Izuku Midoriya. You know my mom and I didn't apply to the support course. I will take the hero exam later today. But first I am here as the co-inventor and pilot of Mickey. Izuku explains as Higuri's eyes under his helmet widen. He recognizes Izuku directly as the son of Inko, and also remembers that he likes to be called Zenko from Inko's stories about him. And you got it wrong, that isn't a simple lame robot. This is a mech, Mei said before he could say anything. Good. How about a little speed test and mobility test then, Zenko-san, Hatsum-san? Higuri asks both, and Izuku's response was a short yep as he jumped back into Mickey's top hatch. Power Loader watches with wonder in his eyes as the mech powers up and starts to move at about 75 kilometers per hour over the sand grounds. He then jumps about 10 meters into the air and lands completely unscathed. Some forms of hooks are fired from the shoulders as Mickey makes a quick U-turn at full speed and then stops directly in front of Higuri. That was a good demonstration, Zenko-san, but how is it powered? My own robots work on batteries and an induction power grid, but I know yours didn't use it. Higuri said as he looked at Mickey. That's simple. We used a hydrogen-hydrogen fusion reactor. Mei replied, surprising Higuri. Before you discuss all the details, I'll go to the hero exam. See you later, Mei. Izuku said as he walked back to the main entrances. The entrance was already flooded with people, but Izuku easily slipped through. He also spotted a few interesting people. He goes to the room of the writing exam and finishes with a good feeling thanks to a certain goddess/sister. He then goes to the lecture hall for the explanation of the practical exam part. He sat in his seat in the lecture hall, and his luck struck again. He sat next to Bakugu, who looked like he was about to bite him. He pondered to talk to him, but instead decided to talk with Mia. They talked for a bit about the exam and what to eat afterwards, but he was ripped out of his thoughts as the voice hero, Present Mike, walked on stage. Hello, everybody. I am Present Mike, and the announcer for the hero exam. He screamed, Can I get a yeah? He asks, and Izuku couldn't let such an opportunity slip. So he gave Present Mike his best and loudest yeah. But he was the only one doing this, even if it didn't bother him. I like you, spirit young listener, Mike said as he pointed at Izuku, who gave a polite bow. Okay, here are the rules. You're going into a mock battle with robots acting the villains. You get villain point for destroyed robots, according to their type. There are 3 types of point robots, he said as the screen lit up behind him, showing 4 robot silhouettes. You can see how many points a robot gives based on the number on them. Now, onto the op dash, he began, but was cut off by a participant with the number 4111. Excuse me, sir, but you forgot the 4th type of bot. It is unacceptable for a top school like UA to make such a grave mistake. And you, he then turned to Izuku to point at him. You were distracting the others the whole time and didn't pay attention to the presentation. He accused Izuku. If you don't want to be a hero, please leave, or take this exam seriously. He said, haha, you're a funny dude. I paid more attention than you. Our good President Mike said that there are 3 types of point robots, meaning that the last one won't give any points. Izuku said, surprising number 4111 and the others. And to the point about distracting the other, what in the world did I do that would distract the others? I sat here listening and didn't say a word, so please tell. And even if something so minor is enough to distract you, then please think again about becoming a hero. You, or someone you try to protect, could die if you're easily distracted. Izuku said, stunning the hall in silences. Asterisk, thank you, number 4111 for the question, and number 1002 for your answer. As he said, the robots I just named are the point bots, and the 4th type are the so-called arena traps. There is only one per text field, and they give 0 villain points. So my best advice for you is to simply avoid those. Okay, good. Now please get into your ascent areas. Hopefully see you soon. With that, he simply walked off stage and into the hallway. Izuku is now at Battle Center D. He already spotted number 4111. He is 179 centimeters tall, has black hair, and some type of engines on his calves. He wears a blue tracksuit and square glasses. His trouser legs are rolled up for his engines. Izuku doesn't concern himself with him further and simply realizes his transformation, revealing his 2 other tails. He then transforms his hands to sharp claws and goes on all 4 and readies himself. A savage grin forms on his face as he feels the disturbance around him as he ignites green flames on the tip of his tails and his ears. He also feels that he is approached by number 4111, but before he can say anything, the single 2. Start comes. And go. President Mike starts the exam over the speakers. Izuku reacts on the spot and jumps over the still opening gate and begins destroying robots. The rest are totally shocked by his actions, and they only begin as President Mike says that they should get going. The teachers watched with interest. Many spotted candidatas they would like to have in the hero course. Inko didn't even focus on Izuku, but instead looked out for Kendo, Rumi, Aijiro, and Tetsu. Surprisingly, the boys were both in the same arena and had teamed up, but it also looked like they were having a competition at the same time. Rumi is in the same arena as Izuku, and she was also shocked by his savage actions and shortly stunned, but she was the first to run after Izuku. Kendo was the first to start in her battle block, and she already had a juicy head start. This year we have many interesting people. Nizu observed as he looked at a monitor where Bakugu just destroyed a robot with an explosion. Wouldn't you agree, Inko? Inko had worked her way up to unofficial vice principal. I must agree, she said as she looked at a screen showing Yumi saving a purple-haired boy. All those have great potential, but it bugs me that we only focus on combat quirks so much. Inko voiced her opinion, making others like Oboro or Aizawa nod in agreement. Even Nizu agreed with it. How about we look through the quirk records and search for people that have good non-combat quirks, and we put them into a specialist program, if they don't make the cut for the hero course. Nizu proposed as he took a sip of his tea. General education students always were a bit grumpy about not making the cut if they applied for the hero course. I think it is a good idea, Oboro said with a grin. It isn't good for people of other courses to don't like or resent the hero course. But we also must teach the hero course that they aren't the pinnacle of existence. He told, and all agreed with him. Oh, this girl looks cute, Midnight said as she pointed to a screen where a black-haired girl was fighting robots. She is 153 centimeters tall, her hair is like black feathers, and she wears a black cape over a dark tracksuit. She uses shadows to attack the robots. The main shadow looks like a bird/demon. They then continued to chat about the other participants and their quirks, but they also decided to work the points out they spoke about after the exam was finished. Izuku was meanwhile chasing through the mock city, destroying as many robots as possible. He luckily hasn't lost track of his points thanks to Mia. She also warned him about nearby people in danger. He helped whenever he could. Okay, young ladies and gentlemen, we come to the final part. The announcement of Mike was heard through the whole block. The last part is the release of the 0 pointers, so have fun and good catch ULL. With that, the ground shook as the zero-pointer got up. It is a 10-floor-high, green-painted behemoth with a giant with zero on its chest. Izuku quickly looks around if somebody is trapped, but sees none. But he spotted Rumi and runs up to her. "Hey, bunny girl," he began as he approached her, interested in crushing a big bad robot. "Oh, hey, Zenko, and do you really need to ask?" she says with mad grin. Both start running up to the robot. Rumi takes a metal pipe and readies Ratio. Izuku meanwhile generates green fire orbs behind him and jumps in the air. Ratio 7-3 cut. Rumi says as she hits the 7:3 weak spot her quirk creates with the pipe, cutting the leg of the robot clearly off. Izuku, meanwhile, boosts himself with flames from his feet to get higher than the head of the robot, and lets himself drop down towards the head. As he is dropping, he creates a black flame circle behind him as the green flame orbs also turn black. Amateur barrage. Izuku calls out as he shoots arrows out of black flames from the orbs and circle, both piercing the metal armor of the bot and melting the metal around spots where one has hit. This resulted because of the missing leg and the arrow backwards, that the arena trap tipped backwards over. 5 minutes Beaver at Kendo's arena. She was battling the robots and just had to knock out a purple grape pervert that tried to accidentally capture her. She was quite pleased with herself, and from the cheers from the other girls, they were too. Mike then announced the zero-pointers, and she was about to run as she heard a faint cry for help. She quickly looked around and saw that a brown-haired girl was trapped beneath rubble. She then sprinted to help her and lifted the rubble off of her and helped her up. She had broken her ankle and couldn't walk. She was also exhausted from her quirk. Kendo quickly noticed that she couldn't save her if she must drag her, but she saw Tetsu and Ijiro and quickly called them. "Hey, Stone and Steel, catch!" she yelled as she threw the girl in the arms of those two. She then turned around and activated One for All. She jumped high into the air, breaking her right leg in the process, and then activated Divergent in conjunction with One for All. Black Lightning Smash. She yelled out as she punched it with full force in the face, sending the whole head as a separate part flying. She then noticed that both her right arm as well as her right leg are broken, but she is catched before she splatters on the ground by the brown-haired girl that Ijiro and Tetsu carried to catch her. "Haha, that was fun, and thanks for the catch," she said with a smile, as suddenly a look of horror came over her face. "Zenko is going to be so angry with me for how I used my quirk." This also got a look of horror from Tetsu and Ijiro. I think he is manly enough to not." Ijiro stumbled. Tetsu didn't even try to console her, but they were quickly torn out of the thought about Izuku, as suddenly the brown-haired girl began to vomit rainbows. "Do you guys see the same thing?" Kendo asks, getting a nod from both Eiji as well as Tetsu. A buzz sound is then heard as Mike speaks up, and that concludes the practical exam. "Good luck, and see you guys soon," he said as Ijiro carried the girl that had now lost consciousness and Tetsu carried Kendo because of her broken arm and leg. They all went to Recovery Grill's offices where they met Izuku and Rumi. Izuku had apparently calculated the burn for his flames wrong, and he had face-planted on the ground and broke his nose. This had also knocked him out, so Rumi had carried him to Recovery Girl and tried, the emphasis is tried, not to laugh. He was meanwhile confess again, and try to just ignore Rumi as the others walked in. Recovery Girl quickly heals them all. The brown-haired girl introduces herself as Ochako Uraraka, and she thanks Kendo, Tetsu, and Ijiro for the rescue. The rest also went home, and Izuku went to the training field where he had left Mickey and May off this morning to see that she was still talking to Power Loader about Mickey. And that is how we came up with the idea. Izuku heard May saying, and Power Loader nods in agreement to something. "Sorry to cut you short, but we must go home now. Even the hero exam is finished," Izuku told them, shooking Power Loader and making May sulk a little. "You want to tell me that we talked 3 hours straight and didn't even notice?" He asked Izuku, who nods. "Okay, then here are a few things. First, I will give you guys a place on campus where you can store and develop your mechs. Second, you're both going to join the support course." He said, "Well, May will be ready with that, but I have just been through the hero exam, so please talk with the other teachers first," Izuku said as he grabbed Mei and both got going home, leaving Power Loader and Mickey behind. "All right," he said as he turned around one last time. "Just call my mom if you need me to move Mickey. I don't want a single scratch on her." Without a week passed, Izuku was sitting in his room and watched anime as he heard his mother's voice. "HH, it is here, Izuku. Your letter from UA is here," she said as he quickly got up and opened it in the living room. In the envelope was a letter and a little metal hollow projector. Izuku didn't watch the projection, but instead simply read the letter. So apparently there were two types of points: villain points for defeating the robots and hero points for helping other participants. He has gotten first place, and Principal Nizu and the newly named Vice Principal Inko Midoriya congratulate him for breaking even All Might's old record of 102 points. He would also take double courses and could work with Mei whenever he wanted, and his marks would stay good in the classes where he would work in the support course. He then started the projector, and it was only some gibberish from All Might. "Yes, young Izuku, welcome to your Hero Academia," was All Might's last line, as the projector now showed a list with the top 10. Wow, this line, am I in a bad manga or something? Well, to a time without quirks, would a manga with superpowers possibly rather popular? That sounds true considering the superpowers of Code Geass. Hero Entrance Exam Top 10. First, Izuku Midoriya. Points, 75V, 65H result. 140 points. Second, Kendo Atsuka. Points, 80V, 50H result. 130 points. Third, Rumi Usajiyama. Points, 68V, 55H result. 123 points. Fourth, Ijiro Kirishima. Points, 67V, 40H result. 107 points. Fourth, Tetsu. Points, 67V, 40H result. 107 points. Sixth, Fumito Koyami. Points, 63V, 25H result. 088 points. Seventh, Bakugo Katsuki. Points, 77V, 00H result. 077 points. Eighth, Achiko Uraraka. Points, 28V, 45H result. 073 points. Ninth, Ibara Shizaki. Points, 36V, 32H result. 068 points. 10th, Tenya Ida. Points, 53V, 09H result. 062 points. Izuku just woke up and is making breakfast for his mom and himself. It is the morning of the first school day at UA. Inko just got up and picked up her part of the food Izuku had made. She must be early today at work, but if you're living basically across the UA main entrance, it isn't such a big feat. It is now 7 o'clock and homeroom starts at 8:25, so he still has 70 minutes until he leaves the house. He then started to draw a few plans for other inventions and all other sorts of stuff he could think of to kill time. He got out of the house at 7:05, but simply walked to the school and directly into his new classroom. He was the fifth to arrive, but as he opened the door, "Take your feet off, Dash," he quickly shuts the door again as he sees who is talking to whom. "Take your feet, oh Dash," he again shuts it. Is this a cutscene or something like that? Well, it looks to be a non-skippable one, so you must watch it whole. Asterisk, sigh, asterisk, take your feet off the desk. You are disrespecting our senpais that used those desks before. Number 4111 told Bakugo. "HA, what do you want, you extra? To which middle school did you go?" Bakugo asks, "My name is Tenya Idai, and I am from Some Juni Dash," he began, but was cut up by Bakugo. "Some, so you AF elite. Don't worry, I will crush you," Bakugo declared. Izuku just shook his head at this idiot. "Crush me? Are you really trying to become a hero?" he asks, but before Bakugo could answer, he notices Izuku and walks up to him. "I want to apologize for my actions at the exam," Ida said, as he bowed his upper body in a perfect 90 degrees angle. Bakugo then looks at Izuku and starts fumming. "Does he have rabies?" Mia asked, but Izuku was still too focused on Ida to give her an answer. "Hey, you shiny YKO. What kind of black magic fuckery did you use to score higher than me?" Bakugo said as he was about to attack Izuku and launched himself at Izuku with his explosions. Izuku simply sidestepped it and he flew out of the door and the open window behind the door. "Ah, Are you going to eat out today, sir? Izuku asks as Bakugo flies right out of the window, and Izuku turns to Ida. I accept your apology, but I can't become your friend now. I must get to know you better first. But I won't resent you, and I hope we can become good classmates. Yes, I understand, he said as he turned around and got to his seat completely unfazed by Bakugo's window dive. There were two others already in the classroom that had watched in silence. A boy with a slim but athletic build. He is 176 centimeters tall. The most memorable thing about him are his eyes and his hair, as well as a scar around his left eye. His hair is duo-colored, the right side being pure white and the left side being red. The hair is smooth and all around on the shorter side. His right eye is a dull gray, while his right eye is a shiny blue. The scar looks like a burn and is all around his left eye and on the left side of his forehead to the hairline. The girl is fairly tall, being 173 centimeters tall, with a rather mature physique. Her eyes have an onyx color, and she has long, black hair that is styled into a ponytail. They both had taken seats in the last row. Izuku greeted them silently and took a seat in the second row. The seat he took had the number 17 on it. Izuku had his three tails out because he didn't want to hide them at UA. He simply procrastinated until others arrived. The next to arrive were Kendo and Rumi. Rumi took the seats in front of Izuku, while Kendo took the seat behind him. Then came a larger group, including Tetsu and Aijiro. Aihiro had dyed his hair red and even his eyebrows. He then introduced his friend Mina Ashido, with whom he had gone to junior high school. Mina is an athletic build girl. She is 159 centimeters tall. Her skin is pink, as well as her hair, and she has yellow horns/antennae on her head that peek out of her hair. Her eyes are also special. The iris of her eyes is yellow while the sclera is black. Mina, Tetsu, and Aijiro talk a little bit to Izuku before they go to others and talk to them. The seat next to Izuku is taken after a short while by a cute-looking girl. She is athletic built and 153 centimeters tall and wears a black cape over her school uniform. Her hair is like black feathers while her eyes look like pyrite. Hello, Foxcoin. I am a Shadow Empress Fumito Koimi, and I got 6th place on the entrance exam, she said with a slight smile. Are you one of the fox spirits called Kitsune? She asks Izuku as she tilts her head to the side. Hello, Tokoimi-san. My name is Izuku Midoriya, and you could say that. I am a Kitsune that is in contact with Inari-sama, a so-called Zenko. So please call me Zenko if this is all right with you, Shadow Empress. Izuku told her as she smiled and clapped her hands together. She is a Chinibu. I like her, Mia said while Izuku was unsure what to think about it. Really only an eye patch was missing. Thank you, Zenko-san. It is a great honor to meet a divine messenger, she said with a full-blown smile now. Please tell Inari-sama that I will be the next god of the night, she declared. This made Izuku smile as he nodded, and Mia just started laughing. This girl is serious fun. Izuku then turned to the door. The rest of the class had arrived in the meantime, and now there was a yellow sleeping bag. If you are here to socialize, please leave, the bag told them. This silences all of them. The bag is still face down. Good. It took you 8 seconds to quiet down. The bag suddenly explodes into clouds. Aha! You should have seen your faces, said a male voice. Out of the clouds walked a man. He is 190 centimeters tall with an average-looking build. His hair is cloud-like and light blue in color. His left eye is blue. The other is covered by a dark blue eye patch. The right side of his face has an old-looking scar. It goes from the right side of his forehead under his eye patch down to the right side of his chin. His clothes consist of blue Crocs, a black 3/4 pants, a jet black t-shirt, and over it an open brown jacket. He smiles brightly and then introduces himself. Hello, everyone. My name is Oboro Shirakumo, and I am the pro hero, Loud Cloud, but please call me Oboro-sensei, he told them with a bright smile. I want to make a little joke. Sorry if I startled you. We will now go to the orientation speech of the principal and vice principal. After that, we will have a quirk assignment test with Class 1B, he told them. Okay, then please follow me, he said as he got to the door. The class followed him. In the cafeteria arrived, they went to the assigned seats for Class 1A. They all sat down and listened to the speech of Nizu. It was an interesting speech, and they were happy that they didn't miss it. After he was finished, Inko walked up to the podium and began her part of the orientation speech, and told them who she is, and then spoke about the special course for the general study students that want to get into the hero course. A few of the students that knew Izuku's name looked at him as they heard Inko's name and saw her green hair. He then nods at those who looked at him to signal them that she was indeed his mother. And now to the final part of the speech, I will introduce you to the new heroics teacher at UA. She said as she motioned to the said, and All Might came out from behind the curtain to her left. I know he doesn't need an introduction, but here is our new heroics teacher, All Might, she said, and the whole student body cheered. Inko then got to the side and made space for All Might behind the podium as he walked up to it. It is great to be here today, and I hope to get to know each of you better. I will do my absolute best as teacher, and I hope I can help this school to guide you all onto a path into a bright future. All Might said, getting a round of applause from the students and from the teachers. After that, both hero classes went to the P.E. grounds of UA. As they got there after changing into the UA gym uniforms, they spotted 3 pro-hero teachers. The first is the homeroom teacher of Class 1A, Loud Cloud aka Oboro Shirikomo. The second is the homeroom teacher of Class 1B, Vlad King aka Sekijiro Kan, and the third is Erasure Hero, Eraserhead aka Shota Aizawa. Oboro is wearing the same clothes, but he has now a brown quarterstaff with him. Ken is a 194 centimeters tall, very muscular build man. His hair is gray in color with short upward spikes, and his eyes are dark red. He wears his hero costume that consists of a dark red skin-tight suit with a very low U-shaped collar, white over-the-knee boots, and thick vambraces over his lower arms, as well as an orange mask over his eyes. The students are now wearing their UA gym uniforms. Oboro was still wearing his casual. Aizawa is a 183 centimeters tall, slender build man. He has long black hair and tired-looking red eyes. He also wears his hero costume. It is a ragged black outfit that consists of a long-sleeved shirt and matching pants that tuck into his boots. He also wears a utility belt and his signature gray wrap scarf/capture weapon. Okay, like I said before in class, we will now have a quirk apprehension test, Oboro announced. Aizawa glared at Oboro meanwhile. He had lost the right to be the homeroom teacher of 1A with a stupid bet. He now also must go on a date with Miss Joke, but the worst part is that he wasn't allowed to expel anyone because he wasn't a homeroom teacher. The announcement got a round of cheers from the classes. They didn't know what it was yet, but still cheered. Okay, so this is how it will go down. Ken started. We would do the 8 basic physical tests. These include 50-meter dash, grip strength, standing long jump, repeated side steps, distance run, seated toe touch, sit-ups, and my favorite, ball throw. Ken announced the tests. You will be allowed to use your quirks in all of those tests to get a baseline of what you could do with your quirks. This got another round of cheering from the students. Kendo Itsuka, you have scored the most villain points in the entrance exam, so you will go first, Aizawa said in a low-energy voice. Izuku watched him and one of his classmates. He had purple hair, and both of them had the same low energy around them, as well as their teetered looks. Izuku shook his head as he then looked to Kendo, who was directly next to him. He patted her on the back and gave her a quick thumbs up. You will show an example with a ball throw. Ken said, you will stand in the circle and then use your quirk to throw the ball as far as possible. He explained to her, and you're not allowed to leave the circle before you throw. Kendo then walked into the circle and readied herself. She then threw the ball with about 20% of OFA. This generated a little shockwave. Exactly 1 second later, activated Divergent, propelling the ball with a second boost of 20% of OFA, and this also created another shockwave. OFA and Divergent in combination made the ball in principle a 2-stage rocket. All were surprised at the shockwaves her quirk had created. The most surprised, however, was Aizawa. He had tried to use his quirk erase on her because of how destructive for her own body her quirk is, but he didn't feel his quirk activate. He then felt a hand on his right shoulder after her throw and looked behind him. He saw Izuku Midoriya behind him with his left hand on his shoulder. It isn't very nice of a teacher to sabotage one of the students. Even if he just wanted to prevent her from breaking her arm, he told Aizawa, and then let go of his shoulder to walk back to his friends. Aizawa was a little bit scared now. Midoriya, a fresh enrolled student at UA, had walked up to him and prevented him from using his quirk without him knowing or noticing it. Aizawa knows that he is the son of his friend Inko, but he didn't know that he is this Go. But he was happy that Kendo had used her quirk without breaking something, and it even gave her a good starting line for the test. That was a nice throw, Kendo-san, Oboro said as he held up a tablet that showed 1032, 7 meter. And I hope you're hyped for the other tests now, he said in his high-energy way, getting a yeah from his students. Okay, then we go to the first test. 50-meter dash. We will always pair a 1A with 1B student, Aizawa said. The first pair to go is Yui Kodai of 1A against Rikido Sato of 1B. This will be a simple 50-meter dash, so see you at the finish line, he said. Yui is a 160 centimeters tall, athletic build girl. She has cerulean-colored eyes, and her black hair is shoulder-length and bob-shaped. She wears a natural expression. Sato is a wide, muscular build boy. He is 185 centimeters tall, with brown hair and black eyes. Yui went to Oboro and asked him if she could borrow his staff, to which he just grinned and said yes. He wanted to see why she needed the staff, and maybe it would be fun. Yui and Sato are now seen standing on the start line. Sato is in a normal 50-meter dash position, but Yui is just standing normal there. She holds the staff with both hands behind her with one end at the ground. At the start signal, both get going. Sato sprints normally, but Yui uses her quirk to make the staff bigger, giving her a boost. Oboro sees that she is too fast after the staff stops to expand and creates a cloud to catch her. Her time is 2:45 seconds. Sato comes in after 5:87 seconds. The next three pairs are uneventful, with Denki Kaminari A701, Vithan Irinjiki Shota B698, Kyokujiro A676, V. Kinoko Komori B716, and Yuga Aoyama A556, V. Mizo Shoji 560. The fifth pair is Fumito Koimi from 1A against Nito Monoma from 1B. Monoma taps Kendo and gets the copy of Divergent, so he simply goes into the starting position. Fumi stays standing and generates black, shadowy, feathery wings and a bird tail out of the same kind of feathers/shadows as her wings. She spreads her wings as both get ready to start. Monoma makes the quirk ready. At the signal both stared, Fumi makes a big flap with her wings, and she flies towards the finish line. Monoma does get a small boost from the quirk, but trips, falls and face plants at the first-second mark because of the second boost from Divergent. He then stands up and runs to the line without the quirk. Fumi's time is 2:94 seconds. Monoma's time is 13:07 seconds. He then grumbles something about stupid quirk under his breath and stays aside. He is simply an idiot who in their right mind would use an unknown quirk for a speed test. What do you mean? Oh, that's simple. I think he tried to copy Kendo's quirk for the run, but he miscalculated how her quirk works and ended up with his face on the ground. Izuku uses his fire as booster, getting 3:41. Rumi is just extremely fit and gets 4:43. Kendo uses the second boost perfectly and gets 3:59. Ijiro is a little bit fitter than Tetsu and archives a 6:01. Tetsu gets only a 6:26, but Kugu flies using his explosions and archives a 3:54. He then goes over to scream at Izuku for cheating because he was faster than him. A few interesting times from the B class include Setsuna Tokage with a time of 3:57, Jiroda Shishida with a time of 4:67 with only running, and Pony Tsunatori with 4:70 again with also only running. I see all have good speed stats, or they have just rolled a good initiative. Mia snickered at her D&D reference, but it went straight over Izuku's head. After all have finished, they go to the grip strength test. Again, many interesting methods are used. Shishida gets 350 kg, Mizo gets 840 kg, and Sato gets 324 kg. All of them only use their pure muscle strength. I would call them berserker. Mia comments, even if this Mizo dude has 6 arms. Fumi, Shoto Todoroki, or Ibra Shiozaki use their quirks to get the best result. Fumi uses the shadow and gets 540 kg. Shoto creates ice and gets 576 kg, and Ibra uses her vine-like hair to get 635 kg. I would say Fumi is a dark mage, Shoto is an elemental mage, and Ibra is a druid. So they are all mage types, Mia commented, continuing her D&D references. Tetsu, Kirishima, and Hiryu Rin use their quirks to harden their skin to get a higher number. Tetsu has 403 kg, Ijiro has 439 kg, and Rin has 375 kg. You see, that's simple. They are hardening their skin, so they are knights. Are you sure? I mean, you're not wrong, but I would say they are more like monks. And that is where you are wrong, author-san. They all are tanks, and I would rather have a knight or paladin as tanks than a monk. Okay, have it your way. Aham, Kendo, and Rumi use both their physical strength, but amplify it with their quirks. Rumi gets a nice 420 kg, and Kendo 869 kg. See, those two are monks. They use magic/ki to boost their physical strength. And then there are people like Izuku, Momo Yarozu, cheats. I mean, people who think outside the box. Momo created a machine to press the grip strength meter. She got 3,000 kg, and Izuku simply melts the thing open and makes it so he gets the best possible measure. So his score is 9,999 kg. Like I said, the cheats. I can't hear you. I can't hear the other one, but I can hear you. Oh, look, the bard is up. Izuku looked over and saw that the purple hair boy from his class was up. What do you mean with bard? You see, his name is Shinso Hitoshi, and his quirk is called brainwashing. I don't even start asking exactly how you know that, but really a bard. Yeah, his quirk is sound-based. Moving on to the next test. Hey, the students now stand before a sandpit. It is time for standing long jumps. Don't just cut me of dash. You may be a goddess, but I am the author. Insert evil after dash singe. Oh, shut up. The mages, berserker, and cheats all clear the sandpit. The same goes for those with a time that starts with a 4 or under that. Ijiro and Tetsu had strong legs, but didn't make the cut. The dynamite brain also flew over the pit with his explosion. The 3 teachers weren't that surprised that so many cleaned the pit. They had an idea of who would clear by the end of the dash. Someone that supported them was Yuga Aoyama. He cleaned the sandpit by jumping backwards and propelling himself with his quirk that shoot a laser from his belly button. They then moved to the next test, a distance run. They would run 3,000 meters along a track around a football field, a soccer field for you Americans. All the students got ready in a different way. Izuku howled with his flames for a bit. Bakugo was taking a sip out of his bottle to prevent dehydration from quirk overuse. Kendo was testing her divergent with running a few meters to get a better feeling for her boost. Fumi has created her wings and was feeling them out. Rumi was doing some warm-ups. And then there was Momo. She created an e-scooter. Cheated. They then all got ready at the starting line, and at the starting single, Izuku, Bakugo, and Fumi flew forward. Momo, a few milliseconds behind, simply drove her scooter. Shinso was also on the scooter because he had brainwashed her into taking him along. Izuku was generating flames from his feet and hands in an Iron Man style and shot forward like a missile. Fumi had her wings made bigger, and she was climbing in altitude to then make a fast dive while reducing wing sizes to reduce the created drag, and was repeatedly doing that. Bakugo was firing his explosions, but couldn't match the stream of fire from Izuku, Fumi's wings, or the e-scooter. He was then overtaken by Shoto, ice creating /skating, and Ida, who ran full steam ahead and said something about shifting in a highest gear. Bakugo then also shifts gear up and uses bigger explosions to catch up again. He also started screaming at them for being F extras and cheats. The rest were normal, running with Kendo, Rumi, Mina, and Pony leading the pack. Kendo and Rumi were constantly fighting to keep first, but they then focused on catching up to Bakugo, who got a little bit slower. Mina was skating on the acid from her feet, and Pony simply ran. The first place goes to Shinso because he had jumped from the scooter. Second was a confused Momo. Third was Izuku with a nosebleed from quirk overuse, but he quickly fixed that with Soul. Fourth, Fumi. Fifth, Shurhai Kurobi. He had hitched a ride in Fumi's shadows. Shoto got 6th place. 7th place is Kendo that had overtaken Ida, who was 8th, and Rumi got 9th place. Bakugu got only 10th because of the dehydration from his quirk after he used bigger explosions to boost him. The repeated sidesteps was not as fun as the others, but there were some interesting things. Fumi created 2 shadows that bounced her back and forth. Bakugu used his explosions and Izuku his fire. Then there was Cozy Eye Tsuburaba from 1B. He could make something transparent soiled, maybe air, and he bounced between what he created. Monoma used Kosei's quirk because he knew and saw how to use it, not failing miserably this time. The next thing up is seated toe touch. This was boring except for toe cage. Nobody really could make something special. Yeah, simple sit-ups, the strength quirk users had the advantage, but a few mages came up with ideas. Like Fumi getting assistance from shadows, or Ibra getting help from her vines. And now to my favorite part. Oboro exclaims, "The ball throw." He pulls a megaphone from somewhere and shouts. Izuku, Jiro, Rumi, Azui, Aizawa, Shinso, and Jiroda just glare at him while covering their ears. "Sorry, guys," he says as he rubs the back of his head. Vlad King then steps up. "Okay, we will go random with the throw. Kendo, you also get a chance again, but if it is worse than your first throw, the worst one will count. So the first to go is Katsuki Bakugu." Kinseta Z threw the ball to him. "Please step inside the circle and throw the ball. Please remember not to leave the circle until the ball is thrown." "Good. Now go." Kinseta in a little bit of a grumpy voice. Bakugu walks up to the circle, smirking as he takes a sip out of his bottle. He then readies himself by raising one leg and leaning back. He then snaps his leg to the ground and uses his whole body as a catapult. As the ball is about to leave his hand, he ignites an explosion in his hand. "Die!" he shouts as all those with enhanced hearing cover their ears. The explosion covers Bakugu in smoke, and the ball then flies a high velocity out of the smoke. Bakugu then walks out of the smoke. Asterisk cough cough, asterisk we cough. Oboro began still trying to fan the smoke away with his hand. "Well, the cough that was something here is your score," he said with a scratchy voice as he held the tablet up that showed a score of 705, 3 meter. Bakugu was mad that he couldn't beat the orange-haired extra, but couldn't do anything about it. So he said nothing and just walked away. "Okay, the next to go is Reiko Yanagibi," Ken said. He then explained the same rules again, and Reiko stepped into the circle. She used her quirk, Poltergeist, and placed the ball exactly at 200 meter. The tanks Tetsu, Ijiro, and Rin just threw the ball normally and got 102, 3, T, 98, 90, and 99, 1 meters respectively. The resident druid, Ibera, created vines that gave the ball a push after it left the circle. She got 306, 1 meter. Fumi simply let a shadow construct throw the ball, getting 369, 1 meter. Shoto tried something with his ice, but the elemental mage didn't find a good application, gating him only 108, 0 meters. The next up is Rumi, and she went for the big guns, and also asked Oboro for his staff. She then threw the ball in the air and took a swing with the staff at the ball. She activated Ratio and hit the right spot, sending the ball far away. She got 705, 6 meters. This got Bakugu screaming, and Aizawa simply captured him with his scarf. "Are you sure he doesn't have rabies?" Mia asked with a smirk. "You tested him last week," Izuku said with an SHD eating grin, making her laugh like she has gone mad. But Rumi's throw got her a round of cheering from her friends for this score and for beating Bakugu. After Rumi came Ida up. He kicked the ball and shot it to 163, 6 meter. Shinso used his quirk to let Kendo throw the ball for him, giving him 999, 3 meter. It wasn't as good as her first throw, but he was satisfied with it. After Shinso went Uraraka Achiko to the circle. She simply deactivated the gravity of the ball and threw it, getting her an infinite. Monoma was up next and copied her quirk and also got an infinite as score. Oh, another cheat. Oh, now it gets interesting. He got first place in the entrance exam. Kinseda's emotion pointed to Izuku. It is Izuku Midoriya. He got 140 points and is the representative of the first year of the UA classes. He told the classes, getting a cheer from them for Izuku. Akan-sensei, and this goes for you as well, Dash, he said, turning to both classes. Please call me Zenko, he told them, like in the Kitsune category that are directly in connection to Inari. Ibra asks, which he confirms. He always likes when someone knows about the old myths. Izuku then goes into the circle, grabs a ball, and throws it straight up into the air. Volcanic punch, he says as he covers his right arm in red flames, and he punches the ball with it as it comes down. He also accelerated it further by using the black flames of Amaterasu. The ball just keeps going before the ball finally lands at 2004 7 meters. With his performance finished, he turns to his classmates and bows to them like someone would after a performance. Mia decides to mess with him and creates flames behind him for extra effect. A mixture of purple dash, black dash, green, and red flames to be precise. This stuns them all, and after a few seconds, all cheer except Aizawa and Monoma. Aizawa looks like he's about to pass out, and Monoma is angry that a Class A idiot took the spotlight. That was a good show, and now to the last one. If you would please take a shot, Miss Yaoyorozu, Oboro said as he turned to Momo. She quickly went up, created a cannon, and shot the ball away, literally taking a shot. The tablet showed 2004 1 meter. That was a nice shot, miss. Okay, I will give you the score in a minute, but first. He then suddenly lost his grin and made a serious face. You now had a little fun and got experience with your quirks, but this isn't how it will be the entire time. This school will teach you all about becoming a pro hero, and this is exactly why you all want to become pro heroes. But please remember this is one, if not the most dangerous job out there. He said, silencing them all. This isn't some game, but real life, and it can turn on you quickly. See this scar? He says as he feels it up. I got it in my second year in UA. During my hero work studies, I was attacked by a villain named Garvey. I was in a collapsing building and nearly killed. I don't know to this day exactly how I survived, but I know I am very thankful for that. It is great to be a hero, I know this firsthand. But please be careful. I know things can become overwhelming, but don't be ashamed to speak with your teachers about it. He said, his lips forming a small smile. All were thinking about his words. Sorry for killing the mood, but it needed to be said. I hope you all can become great heroes, so I can boast about all MY wonderful students. He finished with a small joke as he nodded at Kan, who was also smiling. Aizawa was uncertain how to feel. Oboro is one of his best friends, and he remembered that day when he was nearly killed, but the joke was clearly a jab in his direction. Asterisk cough, asterisk okay. The scores for the exam are as follows. Ken then showed the final scoring for both class. Class 1, A01. Izuku Midoriya 02. Kendo Itsuka 03. Fumito Koyami 04. Momo Yaoyorozu 05. Rumi Usajiyama 06. Shoto Todoroki 07. Katsuki Bakugu 08. Tenya Ida 09. Ijiro Kirishima 10. Tetsu 11. Yui Kodai 12. Mina Ashido 13. Mashireo Ojiro 14. Hitoshi Shinso 15. Achiko Uraraka 16. Tsuyu Ajui 17. Yuga Aoima 18. Hanta Siro 19. Denki Kaminari 20. Kyokujiro, Class 1B 01. Ibra Shiozaki 02. Setsuna Tokage 03. Jiroda Shishida 04. Sunkai Bara 05. Pony Tsunatori 06. Manga Fukudashi 07. Reiko Yanagi 08. Mizo Shoji 09. Shirhai Kurwaro 10. Kinoko Komori 11. Kozai Tsubiraba 12. Nairenjiki Shota 13. Rikido Sato 14. Koji Koda 15. Nito Monoma 16. Hiryu Rin 17. Juzo Hananuki 18. Tagaru Kamakiri 19. Kojiro Bondo 20. Yosetsu Away, some were bitter about their low ranking, and others were happy about their high ranking. but almost all were happy with their ranking, and they knew that they had given their all. "Hey, Zenko!" A few of Izuku's classmates approach him, including Kendo, Rumi, Fumi, Yui, and Shoto. Kaminari, Shiro, Kamakiri, and to a lesser degree Shinso looked jealous at him for being approached by so many good-looking girls. They ignored Shoto's existence completely in that regard. "Yeah. Oh, hey guys, what do you need?" he asked with a smile. Before the girls can say anything, Shoto starts talking. "Are you Endeavor's secret love child?" he asks, saying love with as much sarcasm as possible. This shocking the others around him a little, but Izuku simply laughs at that. No, sorry. My mother is Inko Midoriya, and my father is called Hisashi. I'm not related in any way to you, as far as I know," Izuku told him. Shoto simply nodded and went into the locker room. The rest look a little dumbfounded at him, and they then turn to Izuku. The girls try to ignore what Shoto said, and they go on with their own question. "Would you like to hang out together after school?" Kendo asks. I would like to, but I promised me to drop by after school because of the mech we built and something about my hero costume." He told them, irritating Yui and Fumi a little because they didn't know her. "I can't come today, but maybe tomorrow." He asks. *Sai, okay. The four said as they walked away. "So, Kodai and Tokoyami, what do you want from Zenko?" Rumi asks as they were changing. Interested, Yui simply said, "By his quirk or his personality?" Kendo asks. Personality, like Bright Sunday." Yui said the others agreed with that. He is like a sun with both how he acts and how he uses his quirk. But he can also be like a dark abyss. Fumi said, confusing the others. "Is this why you're interested in him?" Kendo asks, making her blush a little. "Well, no, he's really cool and—" Fumi mumbled something the others couldn't understand. "What did you say?" Kendo asked, and Fumi mumbled, so the others still couldn't understand what she said. Kendo was about to ask again, but a shadow with glowing yellow eyes came forth. Fumi-chan always had fantasies about foxes and fox-core people. Her predator, if you know what I mean. The shadow told them. Fumi's blush intensified, and she hid her face behind her hands. Rumi patted her on the back while the others stared at her. "I understand you," Rumi said, making Fumi peek through her hands at her. "I also had some of those thoughts. Those big bad predators are good, but he also has such an interesting aura around him." Rumi said, and Fumi nodded in agreement, but Kendo and Yui were confused by the aura part. "Aura?" both of them asked. Rumi and the now a little less embarrassed Fumi looked at them. "You want to tell me that you didn't feel the aura he has around him?" Rumi asked, and both shook their heads for a no. "That's strange." She then turns to Fumi. "Did you feel an aura around him?" she asked, and Fumi nodded slightly. "Maybe it is because of our quirk." Rumi theorized. "I mean, we both have mutation quirks, animal mutation to be precise. Maybe it is those mutation quirks that can notice the aura he has." "You mean that he somehow has a special aura that Oni male mutation quirks can pick up?" Kendo asked. "Yeah, that sounds about right," Fumi said, still a little red, but thankful that the conversation got away from her fantasies. "Can you put the feeling around him into words?" Kendo asked, and Rumi responded, "If I had to put the feeling around him into words, I would say." Izuku is now seen walking towards the new support course building. He has also changed out of the gym uniform and has put his workshop clothes on. A simple black and blue boiler suit with a black t-shirt underneath it. On his back is his backpack. The suit still had a hole for his tails. Izuku opens the door to the building and goes in. He hears chittering of two unknown voices. He then looks around. The inside of the building is a 10-meter high and 30 by 30-meter wide hangar with two catwalks, one at about 4 meters and one at 7 meters around the outside wall. To the left of the entrance he used is a 3-meter tall and 10 by 12-meter wide metal box labeled Fox Den. This must be heaven for May. On the ceiling is a big indoor crane. The maximum weight is 10 tons. A giant rolling gate across from the door he used. This gate is about 8 meters tall and 10 meters wide. On the left side is a whole metal workshop with many workbenches, a drawing table, and a big work table at the center of it, stretching the entire length of the building. On the table lays the right arm of Mickey. Across from a workshop are 3 frame support structures, with the middle one being the one in which Mickey is placed at the moment. Mickey had her cockpit open, and she has been repainted. She now had a military green and gray color scheme. The 2 unknown voices belong to a boy with white/golden hair and a girl with black hair, white fox ears, and a white tail. Both were standing in front of the work table with the right arm of Mickey on it. They argue about something while pointing at the arm. Next to them is May. She is working on something on one of the workbenches. Occasionally, she would say something to those 2. Izuku decided to place his belongings in the fox den. He walks to it and goes in. It is basically an office/break room. It is about 120 SQM. In the room are 3 desks with PCS on them, a little kitchen, a few lookers, and 2 beds. Maybe if we want to work on something for an extended amount of time. Izuku places his belongings into one of those lookers and then goes to May and the others. "Hello, guys," he called out to them. May and the others turn to him, and May jumps up and runs to him, and she then pulls him toward her workbench. "Good that you are finally here, Zenko," she said as she started to pull him. "I have finished what you requested for your hero costume." "Ah, that's nice, but how would you introduce me to those 2 first?" Izuku asks as he points at the boy and the girl that just stare at May. Oh, those are Tool Boy and Fox Girl," she said. This made the 2 a little bit angry at May, and Izuku just sighs at her antics. "Please don't be mad at her." Izuku began with an apologetic look. "She is very bad with names, and if you don't have an impact on her, she will never remember your name. My name is Izuku Midoriya, but please call me Zenko. I helped her to build Mickey," Izuku says as he points to the middle support frame. Their eyes widen as they look between Mickey and Izuku. The boy regains his cool first. "Hello, Zenko. My humble name is Ebisu," the boy started. "I was named after the old fortune god from Japanese mythology," he told Izuku, making him nod. Ebisu is a wide-billed boy. He is 180 centimeters tall, and his eyes are brown. His hair is white with gold streaks bound into a ponytail. His clothing consists of a green overall, black shoes, and black fingerless gloves. My name is Kumaho Moriyama," the girl began with a little stumbling. "It is nice to meet you, Zenko-sama," she said as she bowed her head to Izuku. This made him uncomfortable. Kumaho is a half-Korean, slim-build girl, and she is 163 centimeters tall. She has heterochromia, and her iris has different colors. The right eye is black/green, and the left one is gold/red. Her long hair is black with white spots around her fox ears that are also snow white. Her tail is also white, but it has an ink black tip. She also has slit pupils because of her quirk. Please stop bowing and just call me Zenko," Izuku said with a smile while he flared his hands in front of him. "It is nice to meet you, Ebisu-san, Moriyama-san," he said. He then turned to Kumaho again. "Why did you call me Sama?" "WL because of your aura, Zenko S.A. She said, cutting herself off and correcting herself. "What aura do you mean?" May asked. "I know he is special in some way, but I don't feel an aura around him," she said, making Ebisu agree with her. He also didn't feel anything special around him. "You don't feel this aura he is giving off?" she asked, very confused at that. "No, we don't feel anything," Ebisu clarified again for her. "How does it feel?" he asked. That is hard to say. Maybe a combination of warmth, P-power, and maybe divine," she said, but the divine part sounded like a question. This confused Ebisu, but May and Izuku peeked up at that. Mia also was listening with interest. "Awani-san, do you know something about this?" Izuku asked her in his thoughts. "Sadly, no," she told him. "So, I don't know why she feels something around you, but guessing from the fact that the mechanic nut and fortune god doesn't feel anything, I would say it is in connection to mutation quirks. And I am bold and say that it must be an animal mutation quirk to feel anything," she told him. We could confirm this by asking Rumi and maybe Tokomi-san. "Has this ever happened to you?" he asked her. "Will, I don't think so. I never meet anyone with an animal mutation quirk." "What about Jorigumo?" "That's different. We were close friends, but I was weaker back then." "Okay, thanks for the info, Nei-san. No problem. Izuku could hear the smug look on her face, but he decided to ignore it. Maybe she feels something special, and you too docent, because of her quirk. Izuku told him the theory. But let's concentrate on outer things. I will ask a few classmates tomorrow. Aha, that sounds like a plan. Mei said, then how about we talk about what we could do, and then make something? Izuku asked. Ebisu and Mei nodded, while Kumaho gave a thumbs up. Well, I have some experience in bionics, robotics, and human anatomy. Kumaho said. This surprised the others. I made artificial legs for Ectoplasma Sensei and got accepted into UA. She said, now less shy around the others. That could be useful. We could develop Mickey further with your wisdom about bionics and robotics. Mei declared, while Izuku nodded in agreement. Oh well, Ebisu began. I am skilled with programming and mechatronics, as well as robotics like Moriyama-san. He told them, so you can help me to program the user interface. That's good. I'm the only one at the moment that knows how to start Mickey. The interface is plainly said, garbage, but she worked, and that's all I cared for at that moment. Izuku told them, surprising even Mei. So, that's why I couldn't get her running. Mei asked, well yeah, after the start you must manually start a few programs to get her to move. Oh, and I may or may not have many folders with wrong designations, Izuku said, but don't worry, I'll try to fix everything now that we are at UA before the end of the week. He explained, making Mei stare at him. She really liked him, but she also wanted to pilot a mech. You are an idiot, Zenko. The three declare at the same time. They then talked a bit about Mickey's arm, and Kumaho had a few ideas regarding it because of her knowledge of artificial limbs and bionics. Mei said that she should draw a blueprint for the arm, so she got up and started doing that. Ebisu also had an idea and got up and began drawing on some blueprints. Mei then ordered Izuku to right his wrongs, so he quickly got up, ran to the Fox Den, and grabbed his laptop to start reprogramming. He heard snickering from Ebisu and Kumaho, but Mei quickly shot them down. She then went back to her workbench to finish the baby for Izuku. After 2 hours of work, they all sat back together. Izuku was almost done, but he would need about an hour for the last parts. Mei had finished her baby for Izuku, but that will only be revealed in the next chapter. Ebisu and Kumaho showed them their plans, and both Izuku and Mei were surprised by their designs. Ebisu's plan is a power tool arm that could make Mickey in a construction/demolition machine for construction firms. Mei and Izuku agreed that with Mickey's strength and tools for her size, she could be a superior construction machine. Kumaho had drawn out blueprints for an arm that closely resembles that of a human. It also has a theoretical strength increase of 30%, along with some other minor improvements. This design is not as simple to realize as Ebisu's is, but it is more universally usable. Mei and Izuku gave improvement ideas to them, while all four of them were discussing minor improvements and flaws in the designs. The next day, Izuku and Mei had slept in the Fox Den because they wanted to work as much as possible. Around 1800 hours had both Kumaho as well as Ebisu left, stating that they weren't as nuts as Izuku and Mei, which confused Mei but amused Izuku. It was now around 7 in the morning, and Izuku had gone to the lookers and changed his clothes into the normal school uniform. He was now walking toward his classroom. Today would be special. The first real lessons at UA, and after lunch, they would have heroics with All Might, and if you ask how he knows, that's simple, his mother told him. Izuku also has his noise earplugs in his ears because he isn't willing to go deaf when all teachers are this loud. The earplugs worked so that they simply silence the sound if it gets too loud for Izuku's sensitive ears. After he and everyone else got into class, Oboro got in. He was wearing the same clothes as yesterday. Okay, so today I want each of you to introduce themselves to your classmates, and after that you will choose a class representative and his or her vice. Oboro explains. Okay, we will go one lane from front to back, and then begin at the front for the next lane. Everyone understood. He asked, getting a yes, he continued. Okay, then please go first, Yuga Aoyama. Merci beaucoup, mon ami. My name is Yuga Aoyama. I am 15 years old. He told them with a French accent. Aoyama is a 168 centimeters tall, slim-built young man with a rather feminine face. His hair is long, blonde, and worn, flattened down around the majority of his head, spiked, and sticking out to the sides at the bottom of it, with a side fringe that curves upwards a little before it does down. His eyes are bright indigo with long eyelashes. He is also constantly twinkling as he speaks. My quirk is called Narval Laser. It lets me shoot in-fume laser from my belly button. Ravi de Vurin Connor. He finishes and sets down. The girl behind him got up. Hello, everyone. My name is Mina Ishido, and I am 15 years old. She started with a high-energy voice and a bright smile. My quirk is called Acid. It lets me generate, as the name implies, acid from my skin, but I can regulate how strong the acid is. She then smiles and sets down again. The girl behind her got up. Hello, everyone. Karo. My name is Tsiu Ajui. Please call me Tsiu. She started with a neutral voice and put her right index finger to her mouth. Tsiu is, with 150 centimeters, a fun-sized girl, of a relatively slender build and has notably large hands. Her appearance is rather frog-like. She has a very wide mouth, which dips down a little in the middle, just like that of common frog. Her hair is a dark sea green color and is very long, reaching all the way to her waist with the ends tied together at the bottom in a large bow of hair. She has 2 shoulder-length clumps framing her face. My quirk is called Frog, and it does what the name implies, Karo. I'm happy to know you all. She finished and sat down as well. Ida sits behind her and gets up in a robotic manner. Hello, classmates. My name is Tenji Ida, and it is a pleasure to meet you. He began while chopping in the air with his arms in a serious voice. Tenya is a 179 tall and muscular young man with a wide frame. He has short dark blue hair, flattened neatly down. He also wears glasses with rectangular lenses and gives a rectangular aura off. My quirk is called Engine, and, as some of you may have seen yesterday, it gives me engines in my calves. I hope I get to know you all, and that we will all become great heroes. He finishes and sets down. The girl behind him gets up. Hello, everyone, she said as she waved at them, giving off a very friendly aura. My name is Achiko Uraraka, and my quirk is called Zero Gravity. It allows me to cancel the gravity of objects I touch, she says, and to demonstrate torches one of her pencils and lets it float before her. Achiko is a not as fun-sized girl as Tsiu with 156 centimeters. She has a slender yet curvaceous figure, shoulder length and about the same color as her eyes. Her hair is bobbed and curved inwards at the ends, 2 longer clumps taking the same shape on either side of her face. She then puts her hands together and releases the pencil. I hope you get to know you all well and that we all can become friends. She finishes as she sets down. With her finished, the boy at the first row of the second lane starts up. Hello, everyone. My name is Masahiro Ojiro. He began in a clam voice. My quirk is called Tail, and it gives me this tail. He then pulls his tail up and waves with it at the others. Hey ho, I am Denki Kaminari, and my quirk is called Electrification. It gives me the ability to generate electricity from my body. Denki told them with energy in his voice. Haha, Ijiro Kurishima is my manly name, and my quirk is called Hardening. It lets me turns my skin and interior stone hard. Ijiro told them in his high-energy voice. Hihi, Tetsu 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 is my steel hard name. My quirk is called Steel, and it turns me into steel. It is basically the same as Ijiro's quirk. Tetsu told them in the same high-energy voice as Ijiro. Yo extras, my name is Katsuki Bakugu. My quirk is called Explosion, and I will become the #1 hero, so you better remember my name. He exclaims, getting protests from others, but most just ignore him. Hello, I am Kyokujiro. It is nice to meet you. My quirk is called Earphone Jack, she told them as she held up her earlobes that work like headphone cables. It gives me an extremely fine hearing. Hello, everyone. I am the Shadow Empress Fumito Koimi. My quirk is called Demon Bird. It gives me control over shadows, and I can freely form them, but they're stronger when they have a bird form. She told them. Fumi is a fun-sized girl with 153 centimeters tall. She has a slime, but with a mature physique build. Her hair is long, like black feathers, while her eyes look like pyrite. Hantasiro is my humble name and my quirk tape. I can generate and shoot tape from my elbows. He tells the others as he holds up his arms. Hello, my name, Yui Kodai. Quirk size. She began in a neural voice. Lets me control size of things I come in contact with. Hello, my name is Shoto Todoroki. My quirk is called half cold, half hot. He told them, and then simply sat down. Ha ha. My name is Rumi Usajiyama. She told them as she strikes a cool pose. Rumi is now 160 centimeters tall. Her figure is muscular and matured a lot in the last 10 months because of her training by All Might. Her hair is white, smooth, and goes down her waist. Her eyes resemble rubus. She has white rabbit ears and a white cottontail. My quirk is classified as two separate quirks because they have different effects. My first quirk is called Rabbit. Yeah, the name says anything. The second is called Ratio. I'll let you figure out yourself what it does, but not now. She then sits down and Izuku stands up. Asterisk off, asterisk hello guys. My name is Izuku Midoriya, but like I told you yesterday, please call me Zenko. He began with a smooth voice. His natural aura claims the room, but only Rumi, Fumi, and Tsuyu could feel it. Well, my quirk is called Kitsune. It gives me my fox appearance and lets me control fire to my wish. Izuku said. He had told his mother and the others that knew about his quirk that he will call it Kitsune for the time being. Izuku is a 170 centimeters tall young man with a muscular but slim body. He had grown his hair out. It reaches now down to his shoulder blades, but he had bound it into a low ponytail. His hair is dark green with black tips and one silver streak on the right side over his left eye. On the top of his head are fox ears that have the same green color as his hair with the tip being black. The fox ears have replaced his normal human ears. He has 3 foxtails looking out of his uniform. They are as green as his hair with black tips, but they now have silver rings 3/4 in the length of the tail. His iris is emerald green with golden rings around them, and 5 purple rays in the iris, as well as black slit pupils. He then sits down, and Kendo stands up behind him. Hello, everyone. She starts with a bright smile and her eyes closed. My name is Kendo Itsuka, and my quirk is called Divergent. I have a sort of inner energy that boosts my physical power. The energy pulses inside me, and when I activate the energy, it gives a boost to my hits, but these second hits always hit the same spot I hit or by my body. It sounds complicated, but when I use it, it's simple. Kendo said, while rubbing the back of her head. She changed in appearance a little after she met Izuku for the first time. She is still slim, but has packed a little more muscle. She also changed her hairstyle to a high ponytail. She had sat down, and Shinso stood up. Asterisk and asterisk yo. My name is Hitoshi Shinso. He began in a smooth but tired voice. My quirk is called Brainwashing, and it lets me control others when they respond to me. It also works on myself, and I can shut down my body's protective function to use 100% of my physical power. He told them and then sat down. Hello, my name is Momo Yairozu, and my quirk is called Creation. It lets me create non-living things out of my libs. It is nice to get to know you all, she said, and then sat down. Okay, thanks for the introductions, everyone. Like I said yesterday, I am your homeroom teacher, Oboro Shirikomo, but please call me Oboro-sensei. I will also teach heroics. But your first real lesson is with Press N Mike, English. He said as he opened the door. Mike came in, and he got out of the room. He then closed the door behind him as the first lesson began. Thank you for joining us on this journey through What If Deku was granted Kitsune Quirk. We hope you found it as captivating as we did. A big thank you to Dragon Gam 3 for creating such an engaging story. Don't forget to visit their profile on fanfiction.net for more fantastic works. The link is in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Zen and Fanfics for more intriguing explorations into fanfiction and fantasy. Your support helps us create more content like this, and we love hearing your thoughts and suggestions in the comment section. See you soon in the next video.